10 days and counting. 10 days. What's going on? 10 days. Where are you? Where's this OC? If the job is so coveted, why are you now looking for scraps? 10 days since you fired Bobo Patullo. What's going on here? I thought the Eagle job was a coveted OC gig. 10 days it's been since you blew the dude out. And you know what, too? I would imagine that you guys thought you were going to be sitting at the front of the parade going like this. Hey, this is the Philadelphia Eagles. Come on in here, guys. We're going to pick whoever we want to be the new OC. When everyone's doing this, hey, screw that job. I have no interest in that gig. I have no interest in that gig. By the way, this isn't a Big Sills. This isn't my take. This is the actions of what's going on. I haven't heard anything good for the Eagles. Hey, Clint, hey, by the way, I don't have to say it anymore. You guys are getting the bottom of the barrel. Or as Hugh Douglas text me, what's left? What's left? Matt Nagy. I'm all right with Matt Nagy, actually. The guys talked me into it this morning listening to him. I'm okay with that. Why not? He's got a good record as an NFL head coach. He worked with Andy Reid. Sure, why not? If I were you, I'd hire that guy immediately, because if that guy gets out of the building and he goes somewhere else, and what are you left with? Matt Nagy. Holy cow. Oh, and this just in. Christian Parker will be named the brand new defensive coordinator for your Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys got better. Right there in that hire. The Dallas Cowboys got better by naming Christian Parker, the young and very talented defensive coordinator, as their football team. What do they have to improve on? They have to improve their secondary. So they get Parker. Now, again, as long as you have Vic Fangio in the building, it's not really going to be an impact. They'll find another guy. Vic will send out all of his tentacles, and he'll land on the right guy that's going to take that job and get, the best guy qualified to take over the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. I'm not concerned with that. As a matter of fact, I have no concern when it comes to you hiring a defensive coach and a defensive position coach. I have more concern over how you're struggling and limping and falling over trying to hire an OC. This is comical. Watching you hire an OC. What happened? Mr. Capri went to L.A. Hey, and by the way, I got to tell you, I don't want to take the job in Philly because of the big bad wolf Eagle fans. Oh, I don't want any eggs thrown at my house. What are you, 18 years old? I'd play in hell for $3.5 million, and I'd coach in hell for $3.5 million. What are you, crazy? The big bad wolf Eagle fans, they make me not want to coach there. If you're an assistant coach in this league, you're a gypsy. Here, I'm going to give you what a gypsy looks like. This is an NFL gypsy, and I want you to tell me who this is. Here's what an NFL gypsy is, okay? Let's see here. Okay, so here's an NFL gypsy. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Oh, we got a bunch of great topics here. By the way, Jason Cole at 3:30. We're going to go over all the NFL hirings and the firings and why is that Eagle OC job not a very good one. Sales, why did the chicken cross the road? Because he didn't want to take the Eagle OC gig. Signed Kyle. Thank you. Here is what an NFL gypsy looks like. Watch this. Indianapolis Colts interim coach. Colts, offensive coaching staff. Quarterback coach, Colts, 2012. Arizona Cardinal wide receiver coach, 2012. San Diego Chargers, quarterback coach, 2013. San Diego Chargers offensive coordinator, 14 and 15. Philadelphia Eagles OC, 16 and 17. NFL head coach, Colts, 18 through 22. Carolina head coach, 23. That's Frank Reich to Gypsy. That's a gypsy. These position coaches go anywhere where there's a great opportunity. Not because of the big bad wolf, Eagle fans, or the weather. Hey, I don't want to work in dude, the NFL, there's only 32 offensive coordinating jobs. These jobs are they're not just handed out. These things command like $3 million. You're going to make as much money as head coaches like at the University of South Florida. Going to be $3.5 million. The big bad wolf, Eagle fans. That's the dumbest thing next to someone telling me I prefer working in LA because of the weather versus Philadelphia. Oh my God. I would rather work in Philly because at least I'm going to win. Hey, I'll tell you what, if I'm fired, Kevin Patullo gets fired for going 11 and 6. You're going to get a job. Brian Johnson, the 8th ranked offense in pro football, gets fired from being an OC for going 11 and 6. He got a job. The jobs you don't want are your team goes 4 wins. You were the OC and you don't get a job but a position coach again. You got to be kidding me. Hey, no, get this. I'm going to go to California, work out there, and have Gavin Newsom take half my freaking check versus working in Texas or working in Florida or working in PA. Not that the taxes are great there either. How stupid are you? Listen, I'm not telling you your old lady's not an issue when it comes to where you want to work if you have options. Most of these guys don't have options. You work where you're called. Hey, it's all about phone calls, and it's all about your phone ringing. You got 50 phone calls ringing, and you got a bunch of people wanting you to work. Yeah, you get to choose, and you get a little more latitude where you want to work. You got the phone ringing once. What are you gonna? I want to work in. I want to work in sunny South Florida. Well, no, this is the Tennessee Titans wide receiver coaching job. Take it or leave it. Well, I'm going to wait. And then your phone doesn't ring. Congratulations. You don't have a job and you're out of work. How stupid can you be? Weather and fan base are the least on any of these guys' minds when it comes to getting a job. Nobody wants your house egged because a stupid Eagle fan. And I said fan, not fans. Stupid Eagle fan, not fans. Throwing eggs at Kevin Patullo's house. If I tell you what, if I caught that guy doing that, he'd be a snowman out front of my house. And my wife would have been the one to kick his ass. Telling you, man, the Eagle fans. You think that really is anything when it comes to selecting a job? You're out of your minds. We can't lose Clint Hurt. Make him DC and waiting. Why? Why? I mean, you're not in that position. And why would Vic Fangio want to stop Clint Hurt from getting an opportunity somewhere else? That's not how that works, Leon. I get what you're saying. Look, you're doing it because you want to make sure you have an heir apparent and the transition from having a guy like Vic Fangio so that you could keep Clint Hurt. Clint Hurt would be a fabulous future defensive coordinator here. He absolutely would. And I get it. You're not wrong. I completely understand. But, dude, Vic Fangio's not going to stop that guy if he gets a call and all of a sudden the defense coordinating job for the New York Giants comes up. He's gonna let him go. What a horrific week for the Philadelphia sports. My goodness, Sills, we're losing everybody. Watch Jacoby head to Dallas. Dude, we're cooked. Great hire, 29 years old. Christian Parker. Here, how about this? Corporate B. Tell me if you think this could happen. Guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. We appreciate all of you. Jason Cole, as I said, will join us. And that will be at 3:30. Then Big Z's going to step into his spot. We'll slide him up and we'll put him in there at 4:30. So until then, you guys, appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you so much here. All right. So let me show you where you're going right now. A.J. Brown, yet to be determined whether or not he's going to be on the ball team. Dallas Goedert will not be. You're not bringing Goddard back. Lane Johnson, still a question mark. Jacoby Dean, not bringing him back. Jalen Phillips, you're not signing him for $28 million. AJ, Goddard, Lane, Jacoby, Jalen Phillips, all worst case scenario. Some of those guys are leaving. Okay? Some of those guys are leaving. You're praying, what is it? 4 don't leave of the 5. And I'm saying, I'm with you. No. M. Reyes, no. You're not paying $28 million. You're not. And Drew Rosenhaus, according to Robert Bailey and them, want $28 million. $28 million. You ain't getting any hometown discount. Oh, and by the way, especially here, this is what you got to think about here too, Prince. Here's something to think about in negotiations. If you don't pay Jalen Phillips the $28 million they want, or the $26 million, 26 it was, 26. They want a Milton Williams deal. Okay? Wait a second. You let Milton Williams go. Milton Williams was a force in New England. They want a $26 million Milton Williams deal. Whatever. I know. You probably know Drew too. So they want $26 million. So if you jerk around with Jalen Phillips by punting on Jalen Carter in the 5th year, Drew Rosenhaus will pull both of them. Now we're going to wait. Now again, Jalen Carter has no leverage. The Eagles have all the leverage. But Jalen Phillips gives Drew Rosenhaus leverage. Okay. That's how you're going to play me on Jalen Carter? $28 million. If you want that deal signed with Jalen Phillips, you're going to have to sign Jalen Carter to your contract extension now. And Drew might just talk Jalen Phillips into staying in Philly. But if you punt or you come in with some low ball number, Phillips is gone. He reps both guys. Seals, you think CP going to poach coaches from our staff? Man, Jalen Hurts, inability to get a first down ruined this team. Oh, my God, I'd take Bobby King in a minute. If I was Christian Parker, after what I saw Bobby King do, I tried to do everything in my power to get Bobby King in there by naming him assistant defensive coordinator. Absolutely. I do everything in my power. Now, again, you can't do lateral moves if you're under contract. So I don't know what the contract parameters are for Bobby King. But if they offered him more money and gave him an elevated title in some way, Bobby King would be gone. I would want Bobby King because that would hurt the Eagles even more. Take the linebacker coach. Hell, one of the best positions that's been improved on the team has been the linebackers. Winning isn't enough for AJ. No. It's more about legacy now. He wants legacy. His legacy, not yours. He got his ring. AJ Brown has got 2 NFC championship rings and a Super Bowl. He wants a gold jacket. And he's not going to get a gold jacket in Philly. He's not. I don't know. Once that deal gets done, I don't know. I'll tell you this. There could be some coaches off that Eagle staff that will be poached for sure. Clint Hurt, assistant head football coach and D-line coach. That's an elevated position with the Cowboys. Yes. Coaching has always been the Eagles' problem. Yes, because they look at coaches and they look at players like interchangeable parts. Remember something. Prince, do you agree? In Philadelphia, the front office is the only people that are protected. Coaches, head coach, coordinators, players, none of them are protected. They don't care. Yeah, I mean, Raheem would be a sensational secondary coach. And he would not mind that working under Vic because it would be like Raheem working under Monty Kiffin like he did before when he worked with Monty Kiffin when Kiffin was the D coordinator of the Bucs. Now, I think Raheem may, because he still has money being owed to him from the Atlanta Falcons. I think there's another year on that contract. He may just sit out and wait. I don't know if he'll get back into coaching. He might get the New York Giants defensive coordinating job. Raheem Morris is a great defensive coordinator, and I think a hell of a coach, especially on that side of the ball, but that's his forte. He won a Super Bowl ring when he was with the Rams. How he's destroying the team and will leave when complete. Listen, it's not that how he's destroying the team. This is how the Eagles, as I'll use Xander's line, this is how the Eagles do business. You guys do business this way. You torch a defense. You take a blowtorch to it. You ask Vic to fix it. Your coordinators, your coaches are all interchangeable. You don't really revere them that much. You do revere Vic. Tell you this, of all the assistant coaches that you guys have ever hired, make no mistake about it, the guy who's built the most equity up of any, do we not agree? The assistant coach who has built the most equity up of any coach in the time of the Sirianni era has been Vic Fangio. Would AJ have say on where he goes, like in basketball? Absolutely no. They got him under contract. What's he going to say? I want to go to New England? Bro, if you want to be traded, we're trading you to a shitty team so that we get picks back. You're going to the Browns. You're going to the Cardinals. You're going to the Raiders. The Raiders is not that bad a deal. Because here's what's being said about the Raiders. They're either going to trade for Lamar Jackson or they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza. And they're going to throw the ball. Brady wants to throw the ball. The Raider gig is not that bad a gig for A.J. Brown. And it would be best for both. Raiders have the number 1 pick, okay? If you get a 2 and a 4, that'd be at the top of the draft at those respected rounds. So you'd get the top second-round pick. It'd be like a first-round pick. That's not a bad deal. It'd be like the 33rd pick in the draft. 33rd pick. Be like a first rounder almost if you traded him to Raiders. And in the third or fourth probably, you'd have the first pick in the fourth. That's not terrible. But the Raiders would have to take on that dough too. Sean McDermott would be a great secondary coach. Dude, that guy's not going to be a position coach. If you hire Sean McDermott's going to be a coordinator. He's got money owed to him by the Pagulas. Terry Pagula owes him some money, man. He's not going to take a DB coach. That's not how it works. Did he earn the respect to not go to the Browns? No. Respect. The Eagles are trying to improve their football team. What are you talking about? Respect. Respect in trades have nothing to do with this. So wait a minute. You think a football team is going to do this? Well, we really love AJ so much, and we really think so highly of AJ. We're going to send him and really hurt the opportunity for us to get a draft pick that's high so that we make him feel good about playing somewhere else? Where are you thinking? This is the NFL. They don't think like that. AJ, where do you want to go? You want to go to the Rams? Great. Send you to the Rams. Rams go, well, I don't want the money. Okay, we're New England. He wants to go to, he loves the Patriots. He loves Brady and all that. Okay. $32 million that they have to pick up. The Patriots are going to go like this. I got to pick up $32 million. I'll send you a third. No, we need a two. Well, then it's got to be a contingent two, starting as a three. I got to pick that salary up. He's 28 years old. What are you talking here? The money stops that. Plus, the Eagles have to go and the cap hit. This ain't that easy. This is a complicated thing you're talking about here. You said Raheem, though. So what's the difference, Sells? What do you mean? I'm sorry. Hey, did I miss you, brother? Oh, you said Raheem. So what's the difference, Sells? Put it over here on the other side here, what you mean here, Marsh. Okay, on Raheem. Raheem's a hell of a coach. I think he still owed money from Arthur Blank in Atlanta for that contract. Howie wants 2 number ones for Brown. What? Who in your right mind would ever, you're out of your mind. Hey, Barb, that guy is not getting a 1, let alone 2 ones. They're trading A.J. Brown for a 1? 2 ones? I don't think so. $30 million and 29 years old. No, thank you. All brought to you by Backload Howie Contracts, Inc. Yeah, well, that bill's due now, too. Sills, Frank Reich said he's open to being a consultant to Mike Florio, not coaching. Where did you hear this? Is this true? We told you a year ago. Confirmed. Right here. Frank Reich said he's open to being a consultant. Where did you hear that first? Xander? Where did you hear that first? You heard it right here. Out of Frank's mouth. I asked him. Now Mike Florio has it. When he said it here 6 months ago. I'll replay the interview for you, and I'm going to repost it. I've told you guys, he's waiting for the OC to be hired. Then he'll consider a consultant job in Philly. Stop doubting us. Do you actually think I tell you shit just to tell you? You still don't get the show, some of you. You really don't. I'm not a reporter. I just know a shitload of people. Are we going to end up with Jim Bob Cooter? I don't know. I don't know. That's so great. Validated. By the way, he's telling you right now he's going to be a consultant for the Eagles. I already know this. I already know this. Seals is so dialed in. Best booker I've ever seen. Thank you, Brian. Xander, you remember, right? When Frank said that? Yeah, I'm open. They were trying to carve out a role for me here. Get this. This is what Florio doesn't even know. Frank said here on the program, they were going to carve a position out for me in Philly. But then this thing came in, and Andrew Luck came in, and he asked me, and I did it. Chills, when are you doing your 10 bold predictions in 26? Let's get into free agency first. Thank you. Let's get them likes up there, man. Right, Abe? Now, all of a sudden, Mike Florio's got breaking news. Had it 6 months ago. Most people are behind us. So you're saying if we get Cooter, OC Frank will be back in the building. How you doing? Yes. Yes. I am 1,000% convinced Frank Reich would be in the building once your OC is named to help. And get this, then you have a tag team because Frank Reich is not going to go against anything Nick Sirianni says. And if that OC and Frank and Nick don't see eye to eye, Frank Reich will be your OC. The offensive coordinator is going to have a tough time getting around Frank and Nick if they think those plays are stupid. So do you think CP will be good first-time play caller in Dallas? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I do. We'll see, though. We'll see. I don't want Frank here. Either him and Nick can go play rock, paper, scissors at a high school all-star game for all I care. I don't want him in the building. Marsh. He's a good coach, dude. Frank Wright's a good coach. I rubber stamp that guy. I want AJ to stay. If not, then trade for Crosby. Crosby has been known that he wants out of Vegas, and he gave Philly a lot of compliments this past season. He has. Seals, the interview was with Mike Florio, NBC, on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, we did that same interview 6 months ago, or whenever Frank came on when he was the interim head coach of the Stanford Cardinal. He was the head coach at the Cardinal, and Xander has it in the archives. Oh, you guys got to go back and listen. Actually, I guarantee you, we've got more in depth. Sills, when you get a chance, check out Doug Peterson's interview with Howard Eskin. I will. Somebody's listening. Hold on. I'm even more convinced Frank will be in the building. Get your OC hired. Frank had a lot of good things to say about Nick. I know that. No. I sent Xander a text. Frank got on my ass because I took a shit on Kevin Patullo and Nick. And you know what he said? You know those are my guys. Those are my guys. Xander saw it. He got mad at me. I've been friends with Frank Wright longer than Nick. I've known Frank Wright since he was 17 years old. Dan, you still think we will have a better season in 26 and 25? Let's get through free agency and the draft. I'm starting to wobble on that a little. I think you're going to be better on defense. I do. At this point, bring back Kevin Patullo. I told you when you fired him. It was a meaningless fire. It was a completely meaningless fire. I'm still on my opening page. It's crazy. Still on the opening page. Here we go. Hit the like button. I appreciate you guys very much. All right. So, let's start here. Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you today. Thank you very much. Do you believe that any offensive coordinator that you bring in will improve Jalen Hurts as a passer? Yes or no? Do you believe the new OC that's being brought in will help Jalen Hurts become a better passer? Why? Get to my boy Pump here. Or Marsh. Excuse me, Marsh. Says, I know that's your boy. I respect that. But Nick and Frank is too much buddy system for me. And buddy systems don't cover for brain fart head coaches that can't coach for players and to a player's ability. Marsh, let me say this to you, though. Frank Reich and Doug Peterson were very close friends. You think that worked out for Nick Foles? They're very close friends. Okay? Do you think that worked out? Those guys were close and are close. They're very close friends. Okay? That worked. Dude, I don't believe any OC you bring in is going to help Jalen Hurts the passer. I just don't believe it. The only kind of person you need to bring in to help Jalen Hurts the quarterback is a guy that's going to utilize him effectively in running. Because if Jalen Hurts doesn't want to run anymore, you can't fix that. We're in year 7 now. We're going into year 7. He's not automatically going to evolve. Have you ever seen that? Where a guy stops running and turns into a great passer. Okay, he says that that's false. Name me a guy who stopped running and in his later years became a better passer. Name me one that came into the league as a dual threat. Name me one that had success. Name me one. That worked out, but this is not 2017. Randall. Randall was a great passer. Steve Young was a great runner and passer. Steve Young was a better passer than runner. Steve Young led the NFL in completion percentage. What did Michael Vick ever win? Nothing. Russell Wilson became a better passer. He got thrown out of Seattle. McNabb, when he stopped running, got ran out of Philly. Randall was a great passer from the beginning. No. Randall was always a good passer. Right. Wilson was never a great passer. Okay. Really? And that's why Seattle moved off him. pushing the goalpost. Holy shit. Hurts has never been a great passer. Ever. And he's never going to be. Never. You're comparing the athleticism of Lamar Jackson and Hurts. Dak Prescott has never run. Prescott doesn't run. Dak was a runner. That's a lie. Was never a runner. Warren Moon was never a runner. Never. Really? Okay. Here. Let me hook you up on something here. Warren Moon. Start there with some of these stupid. You actually believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be a better passer? My God. Man. The Jalenites rule. Unbelievable. I mean, honestly, Warren Moon played 18 years in National Football League. Here's his rushing totals. 130 yards, 157, 88, 268, 147, 68, 140, 55 yards rushing. That's a running quarterback? In what world is that? Here, Dak Prescott. My God. The Jalenites are without a doubt. Here's Dak's run numbers. Rushing numbers. 305, 350, 277, 146, 182, 242, 177 yards this last year. That's a runner? Based on what? What are you talking about? Steve Young. You want to do one more? Let's do one more. Holy cow. You got to be kidding me. You guys are making this shit up. Steve Young. Don't you remember what happened to Young, too, once he got the concussions? And he started getting the concussions? 109. Now, 537, 407, 293, 250, 199, 57. But the difference is that Young led the NFL in completion percentages that year. I'm talking about people, if they don't run the ball, and Hurts doesn't want to run the football anymore, he's not going to turn into this like prolific passing guy. That's not what he's going to do. That was Jalen Hurts' number when he left Alabama and transferred to Oklahoma. Let's see. So Tarkington was good. The game was a little different. Now, he did throw for 47,000 yards. And he was like the first dude that started taking off. But Fran was always a great passer. Here. Who's your perfect OC for Hurts then, Sills? Let's see. Somebody like Shane Steichen. The guy that they hired up in Detroit would have been a good one. Who's the OC in here, I'll give you a guy. Yeah, Jim Bob Cooter would be better. They deal with dual threat. They're coaching Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Yeah. Shane got the most out of Hurts because, hey, what were the 2 years that Shane had Jalen Hurts? Was that 21 and 22, right? Okay, Jalen Hurts, 21 and 22. I want to show you something here. Jalen Hurts. You got to profile people, folks, if you're looking for a coordinator. Okay? And then you got to figure out what the quarterback wants to do. So here's Jalen Hurts. And 21-22, right? Okay. Jalen ran the ball for 784 yards. The following year, he ran for 760 yards. So in the 2 years that Shane Steichen had him, Jalen Hurts had 23 rushing touchdowns and had, let's see, 1,500 yards rushing in 2 years he was the coordinator. The last 2 years that Jalen Hurts has played, he's had 630, 421. He's had 1,000 yards. Roughly 600 yards less right now, Jalen Hurts ran the ball in the last 2 years. 600 yards less than when he ran the ball for 1,600 yards under Shane. Guy don't want to run no more. And they don't want to run him. And that's why his passing has gone the other way. And the passing game for the Eagles has gone the other way. Nobody fears his ability to be a dual threat. Jalen Hurts is not a dual threat guy any longer. He's no longer a dual threat guy. Coordinators don't look at him as a dual threat dude. The Jalenites are like the Waco cult, jumpsuits and arsenic Kool-Aid. I think we're fucked even if we resurrect Bill Wass's OC. Going to be a tough sledding for the next couple of years. Give me Cooter so we could say Coochie Cooter. Big year for Jalen. Sitting in the bench and watching Tanner Missile McKee throw the rock. See here. Look at this. Jalen Hurts, first 6 years. Get this. You see this right here? The National Football League was completely different in 1978. Do you not agree? What a dumbass take. Sills, we are our only team who has an OC opening with a head coach already in place. Man, we are pathetic. It's going to be horrific and an horrific hire. Sills, this is just my take. Don't rip me. I'm not. I think the league is trending back to a pocket passer more than dual threat. I don't know about that. Sills, what do you know of Slowick? Also, you think you got scapegoated in Houston? You think he got scapegoated in Houston? I can't tell any difference in Stroud. Well, I thought Stroud was better with him there. I think we missed one. Did I, Z? Did we miss one here? Let's see here. Did I? No, I think we got him. Okay. No, I think we got him. Get this. Hey, you know what? So M. Reyes goes at Warren Moon because he doesn't have any rings. He's not a good player. And Jalen's better than Warren Moon. Wait a minute. Hey, M. Reyes, you think that Jalen's better than Warren Moon as a quarterback? Hold on. You think here, cheap excuse to avoid having to explain that shit take. What shit take? The 1970? You think the 1978? And you think the 1980s and early 80s is the same NFL as today in the passing game? Am Reyes, do you think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Warren Moon? Yes or no? I'll tell you this. If this guy answers this a certain way, I'll never bring this guy up again. Do you believe that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback? Okay? Do you believe that? Do you believe it? And Reyes, do you believe? Just answer the fucking question, guy. Do you believe Warren Moon is a better player than Jalen Hurts or Jalen Hurts is better? Just say yes or no. Been hearing a ton of local media about how the egging is in. Zero impact. Zero impact. Get this. Hurts is better than Warren Moon. So as we just lost Christian Parker to the Cowgirls as their DC. I watched Moon play. This guy's delusional. This guy discredits himself every time he opens his face. He completely discredits his takes. Because he's trying to make a narrative. He's an old school broadcaster, kind of in a way, that because he has a take about Jalen Hurts, nobody's as good as Hurts because they haven't won a ring. So he's under the assumption that Warren Moon is not a better ball player than Jalen Hurts because he hasn't won a ring. He obviously never saw him play. This isn't even a question. Hurts is not even close to Warren Moon or Warren Moon's league. No. I mean, the dude completely discredits himself. Talk about shit take, guy. Get this. Moon didn't break the magical 4K yards until year 7. You're discrediting Hurts after year 6. The league was different then, dude. How many 4,000-yard passers were in 1982? Let's see, passing leaders in 1982. When Warren came into the league, I think it was 83. 1983, I'll show you, folks. How many 4,000-yard passers? How many 4K passers were in the NFL in 1983? 2. How many in 84? 2. How many in 1985? 1. How many in 1986? 2. How many in 1987? 0. Dude, what the fuck you talking about? How many 4,000-yard passers were in the NFL this year? Let's take a look at that. Let's hear. He's trying to compare guys to 35 years ago. How many 4,000-yard passers were in the NFL this past season? Let me see. Let's go down the list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 6 quarterbacks with 4K this year. 1987, there were 0. Oh, yeah, in 87, that's right. There was a strike year. That's right. That's right. So let's do 88. That's a great call. You're right. There was going to be no. That's right. In 88, 1, Marino. 89. This is funny, man. I didn't know this. 2. 90. Dude, I could do this. And Reyes is comparing guys in eras where there were 1 4,000-yard pass. Here's another one, 1990. Warren Moon, 1, 46.89. Warren Moon is the only guy in 1990 to throw for almost 5,000 yards. Nobody threw for $4,000 that year. Yeah, okay. Hey, I feel bad for the guy now because of his ignorance. Sills, I really want Bobby Slowick as our OC. He was good as the OC in 23 and 24. His team was injured, and it wasn't entirely his fault. Plus, you got to remember, they were coming out of that whole Deshaun Watson stuff. Statistically, Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in Eagles franchise. There's no debate. With the amount of talent he has on the team, guy's trying to tell me Jalen Hurts is a better player than Warren Moon. Yeah. Oh, my God. dude, you should stop posting and delete your account. That's what people tell me. You should delete your account right now and come back as a different name. Like, you should come back as M. Howie or M. Sirianni. Hurts is here to 2028. I believe he's efficient enough to get back to a bowl. He is. He's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo got back to one. Absolutely. Moon was great. He took it to them in the house of pain. Guy was a great player, man. Just an absolutely M. Lang. I like that one. M. Lang. What a dope. Hurts is 57-24 when he runs 5 times. 9-21 when he doesn't. Twiz. Z, look at his stat. Did you notice? That's a good pull, dude. He's an under 500 quarterback when he runs like that. That's a good pull, dude. Mock drafts Bane to the Giants with the 5th pick. How many edge rushers are they going to draft in New York? You made a trade for Brian Burns, who finished 2nd in sacks. You went and got Abdul Carter last year. You have Kayvon Thibodeau. How many edge rushers are you going to put in New York? Right? How many guys you going to put? Exactly, Twiz. You beat 200 yards passing, 50 on the ground. That's how he wins. Correct. I agree. So I don't care about no damn Hurts, bro. They're taking our DCs on defense. CP to the Cowboys. Christian Parker. I saw that. Long as Vic doesn't go anywhere. What's happened to the defense at 57, dumbass? I'm not sure what you're talking about, bro. Try to have a little bit more of a conversation so I understand what I sound dumb to what? Who, me? 30 years ago, there were 3 and now there are 6. This clown acts like 15 guys throwing for 4K a year. Clown? Guy, you're 25th in passing every year the last 2 years. Deal with it. Nobody wants your job because the quarterback blows at the quarterback position in the pocket. Here's the next topic. Do you think it's more Nick Sirianni or do you think it's more Jalen Hurts that these OCs don't want this job? You know what my favorite conversation is now? My favorite conversation is the big bad Wolf Eagle fans. And the weather? That's the excuses you're coming up with to cover for your quarterback? That's where you're going? How pathetic and lame are you going to go to? And how low are you going to go to cover? The weather is a bad thing. And the big bad Eagle fans. Dude, WIP is saying that because it enhances their station. Because all of you stunads go on there and bitch about the OC, bitch about this, bitch about that. Who cares? Do you know what I look at it as? Who gives a shit what you say? Bring it on, dude. The weather and the fan base is why you're not getting good OCs. You'll make excuses for anything. That's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard a Philadelphia Eagle fan say and a media person ever in that market ever say. And it's unbecoming of your city if you think people are afraid of you. Are you fucking nuts? You think you get to the NFL with fear? Good grief. And weather? Weather. Hey, welcome to playing football. You play in the rain. What's next? I need galoshes instead of cleats to go out and play because I don't want my feet wet. You sound soft. Are you crazy? You play football in the snow. You play football in the rain. You play football in the mud. You play football in a hurricane. You play football during a pandemic. But you're afraid of the Philly fans and the weather. Oh, my God. Jesus criminy. You got to be kidding me. Who do you think? Really? Man. You'll make any excuse up for this dude. And the freaking coach. You'll come up with anything. And make it sound like it's real. It's the weather. It's the eggs at the house. So wait a minute. Somebody threw eggs at your house and you were making $3.5 million. I want to quit that job. At this point, Sills, it's not football. It's these Jalenites. They like the guy because he makes them all fuzzy inside. A.K. Hurts crowd is strange. Dude, it's strange as hell. Wait, what if Frank, Nick, OC say bench Hurts, then what? They're not going to because they know how to work for the owner. And they know what the owner wants. Dude, the only time... So wait a minute, let me ask you this. Who do you think's going to make that call on benching Hurts? Nick, Howie, or the owner? Who's going to make that call? Who's going to make that call? Who do you think makes that call? Nick, Howie, or Lori? If you're ever going to bench Hurts, the owner. He's the one stroking the check for $50 million. He's the one that paid him $250. That's going to come from the owner. What do you think? Howie went, hey, Jeff, we're going to trade Wentz. You got to go to the owner. When the owner strokes those checks, you got to go to the owner and go, we're going to make a move here, and I want to know what you think. Well, who do you think benched Tua Tagovailoa? Mike McDaniel or Stephen Ross? Right. Lori loves Jalen Hurts. So wait a minute. Alfredo. So Nick's going to take it upon himself to go and bench the guy. Then we're going to go with the collateral damage of the GM and the owner. I thought it was in the best interest. This ain't your team, kid. This ain't your team. You work for the team. Dude, get this. Do I think Nick makes football decisions? Yes. Do I think Nick makes business decisions like benching a quarterback? No. Why bench a better quarterback than Josh Allen? Bench a better quarterback than Josh Allen? Like who? There's nobody in the league. Oh, by the way, MVP list came out. And here are the candidates. Josh Allen, 1. Trevor Lawrence, 2. Drake May, Stafford, and Christian McCaffrey. Those are your 5 candidates for the Associated Press MVP award. Allen's name will be on that list until that at least another 5 years. Do you think Jalen is in? No, 0. You might as well ask me if Nicole Lynn's in on him. Josh Allen is a freaking crybaby, mentally weak. Sure. Yeah, that's right. Hurts not on the list. Weird. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Guy got his coach fired and cried about it. It's called passion, dude. Maybe you should try working for something in your life. Skipper, I saw the Eagle players cry after a Super Bowl loss. What would he know about competing? Hey, when you love something enough and you compete and you succeed, you cry. When you fail, you cry because you put your heart and soul into something. Your marriage, friendships, anything. If you love something enough, you're passionate about it and you're emotional about it. Most people who've never competed in their life wouldn't know any better. Why would I think that stiff would ever think that? I wouldn't. Never competed for anything in your life. Passion my ass. Dude has been whiny. Oh, whiny? Okay. At least he's good. Don't normalize. Normalize what? Passion? Are you suggesting I've never cried because I lost or I won? Or failed? Or succeeded? Happy? Sad? Bro, there's nothing wrong with having passion in your life about something. You should try it. And not just walk around on your knees at the NovaCare. In your dreams. If any of you think Hurts is better than Allen, don't go down that lane. Because you know why? At the end of the day, it's a waste of breath. I probably have wasted a half a year of my life doing that, not doing it anymore. Because you know why? Nobody wants your OC job for one reason. They don't want to work at the quarterback. I heard John McMullen go like this. Well, it's a variation of things. The weather, taxes. So when my phone's not ringing and I don't have a job opportunity, you mean to tell me I'm going to tell the Eagles, hey, listen, I'm not interested because I want to live in San Francisco and not Philly. Thanks a lot very much. Your wife will look at you and go, how come you didn't take the job? Well, I want us to live in Seattle. Oh. Now, if you got multiple phones ringing and you're being recruited, that's a different conversation. Then you do have options. But the number one option doesn't start with the fucking weather. It starts with who the head coach is. Then it goes to who the quarterback is. Those two dynamics are the only thing you give a shit about. Who's the head coach? Who's the quarterback? Why are you making it more? Like what? What other thing has to be more important? Taxes? How far down the list do you think that is? 38? Hey, I want to live more closer to Chesapeake Bay. So, I'm going to wait for the Jets gig for them to call me instead of the Eagles. Nobody calls. I want to live, I like blue shell crabs. I want to work in Baltimore. What are we talking about here? Dude, this comes down to two things. Who's the head coach and who's the quarterback? You're making more of it. Well, Mike McDaniel's wife is from LA. Who gives a shit where she's from? My old lady would tell me how much money they paying you. $3.5 million. Who's the quarterback? It's Justin Herbert. Who's the head coach? It's Jim Harbaugh. Great. Let's grab it. And it just so happens I'm from LA. Great. You know how you know this? Let's take a look at Nick Sirianni's resume. Okay? Let's look at Nick's resume. And you tell me if Nick Sirianni wasn't a gypsy before he got the head coaching job. And then you tell me if he preferred to live in LA or he preferred the weather. Let's look at Nick if he was a gypsy. Let's take a look at his resume. Dude, people's jobs and their resumes tell you. It has nothing to do with that shit. KC, from 09 to 12, he was the offensive quality control coach. You know what that is? Go get me coffee. He was the assistant quarterbacks coach. Go get me coffee. Offensive quality control coach, 11. Go get me coffee. He was a wide receiver coach in 12. That's a job. San Diego, LA, quality control coach. Go get me coffee. Quarterback coach, that's a job. Wide receiver coach, that's a job. Indianapolis, OC, that's a job. This guy was a gypsy too. So wait a minute. Kansas City, San Diego, I agree. Tremendous. Indianapolis, really? And Philadelphia. Look at some of the biggest resumes of all times. Okay? Look at the jobs. Look at where they've been. Here, let's look at Sean McVay. Was he a gypsy? Let's take a look. So, hey, you think working for Daniel Snyder was like what? A walk in the park? Take a look at Sean McVay. He's 39 years old. How many jobs did he have before he became the head coach? But then listen to this guy. So this guy was a Tampa Bay assistant. Go get me coffee. He worked for the Florida Tuskers. I forget what league that was, wide receiver coach. He was an offensive assistant in 10 in Washington. Go get me coffee. Then he became the tight end coach in 11 through 13. That's a job. Offensive coordinator, 14 to 16. That's a job. Working for Daniel Snyder. Then he became the head coach. Okay? I mean, most of these guys have multiple stops. Frank, I showed you Mark Trestman's. Mark had 14 different jobs. Most of them coordinators. Picked his family up and moved. And most of the time, it was year after year doing that. You think those guys were worried about weather and fan bases? All of that. Dude. All right. Well, here. Let's go down to this. Here, I'll build you where you would want to work. What would be the number one thing you would want to have if you were an offensive coordinator? What would be the number one thing you would want to have if you were interviewing for a job? What would the number one thing you'd want to have? Fucking quarterback. Okay? A QB. Control is going to come with, I see people with control. Full autonomy? No. Depending what the organization is. You're not getting full autonomy in Tampa, Philly, Buffalo. You're not getting full autonomy. Why? They got quarterbacks in Baltimore, Tampa, and Buffalo. You got to work with the quarterback, Junior. You know where you get full autonomy? Those shit turd jobs like the Browns and the Titans. Robert Saleh will be fired in 18 months. And whoever lands on that Browns job will be fired in 18 months. Those jobs are dog shit. I mean, if you're going to get a good job, you want to have a quarterback. Get this. O-line, that's probably one of them, but you got to have the quarterback. Justin Herbert beats you with no tackles. Shit, Justin Herbert is 3-1 versus Philly. Shit, Justin Herbert 1 year threw for 90% completion percentage versus the Eagles. Justin Herbert had no O-line and won a ball game with a broken hand. Give me the quarterback. Who's the head coach? Well, it's Nick Sirianni or Jim Harbaugh. There's no debate. Here, let me ask this question. You think Nick Sirianni's a better coach than Jim Harbaugh? That's like saying that Nick Sirianni's a better coach than Dick Vermeil. Or Bill Parcells. Right? Wait a minute. He's got a better percentage and a better win percentage. Where's my boy M. Reyes? I'm sure M. Reyes thinks that Nick's better than Parcells. Or Vermeil. Because he's won more. You win here in Philly because of one dude. You know who that dude is? Howie Roseman. And then the other dude is the guy that writes the checks. Those two dudes. The problem with those two guys, you're leaving Super Bowls on the table. Seals, why is Nick not a good coach? Because he doesn't have answers when you need him most. If everything's not perfect around you, I saw Kyle Shanahan coach his doorknobs off. And it was embarrassing. Okay? Guy had a JV team, and he beat you. What's the point of coaching if not to win the fucking bowl? We aren't running therapy sessions. What's that got to do with Nick? Nick's part of a culture. He didn't build that culture in Philly. He's a bus rider. Are you, hey folks, you think you'd be still winning if it was Nick or a guy named Dick? That was like, do you think Nick Sirianni or Dick Reyes? If whoever ran that team, you're telling me you wouldn't be in the same position with Jalen Hurts or with Saquon Barkley? It could be Dick Reyes or it could be Dick Smith. My bad for going down there. How do we know Jalen's skill set isn't the best at the quarterback position? Because Jalen Hurts is not a drop back quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a dual threat guy. He will always be a dual threat guy. Okay? Right? He wasn't winning games in college based on his arm. He was winning games based on his knowledge, the way he sees the game. They play. Here, listen. Let me give you my positives with Hurts. If I was coordinator, this is how I would look at Jalen. I think he's smart as shit. And you can work with smart. I think he sees the game well. I think he's really understanding in-game situation. I think he knows his limitations. I think he knows if he wants to play longer, he's got to pipe down on the run, and that's what he's done. But it's affected his game. The less he runs, the more he's exposed. You see that because then other coordinators are not defending that. Jalen Hurts in 2022 was almost to a point where he was undefensible. You couldn't defend a guy. I cannot tell you, of all the years I've seen quarterback with dual threat, how many times that guy broke people's faces in half with those 3rd and 11 runs. He was a weapon. He's never been the same. Either coaching philosophy, either organizational direction change. They pivoted off of whatever. They've never coached him that way ever again. No one's run dual threat stuff and RPOs with him ever since 22. It's been more pocket stuff. Why? Because that fits the head coach. They're trying to make Jalen look more like Nick than Nick looked more like Jalen. You know why? Because Shane may have been the only guy in the building offensively to ever have complete autonomy of the offense. I think everybody else, Nick was involved. And that's why it's wobbled. And let's be candid, 24, Jalen Hurts was the caboose on that Super Bowl team. Sure, he played good in the NFC title game of Super Bowl. Yes, he did. But 95% of the season was on the back of Barkley. Barkley was the offensive player of the year. Hurts was nowhere in the conversation. He had 18 touchdown passes and 2,900 passing yards. I've never seen anything like it in a modern-day league that today is set up for you to throw the ball. Jalen was a non-factor. Yeah. Well, when you're hoisting George Halas trophies, NFC Championship games, and you're hoisting Lombardi trophies, Who wouldn't be on it? Hey, if somebody came to you and you were really smart, Sills, you may not have 4,500 passing yards and 30 touchdowns, but you're going to have 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl and potentially an MVP in that game. And you throw for 2,900 yards. Any moron in his right mind would take that. But when some of those other components around the team to get you to where you need to get to point B are not running at full efficiency, offensive line, wideouts, offensive coordinator, when you don't have all those components, you're not getting there because the quarterback can't carry you there. Dude, whatever you want to say about Josh Allen and his 4 turnovers, Josh Allen still had him in overtime with a chance to win. Hurts turns the ball over 4 times. You're getting beat by 40. Not the Bills. Coordinators know that. That QB can't throw you out of trouble. You have 2 or 3 turnovers, you're finished. You're finished. Yeah, that's probably right. But to be fair, Forrest, Mahomes is asked to do more. Says, I hate to recklessly speculate, but can't you see Hurts finishing his career with another team? Most definitely. He's not finishing it with the Eagles. You think he's going to retire Philadelphia Eagle? I'm sure all of you thought McNabb would too. I'm sure many people thought that Montana would with the 49ers. I'm sure people back in the day thought Namath would too. Fouts would too. Name one. Phillip Rivers would too. Not everybody retires like Elway and Eli Manning. Peyton Manning did it. Peyton Manning finished his career with somebody else. Not true. Look at the Charger game. What Charger game? Oh, the turnovers. The only thing Jalen is getting... Dude, he's not bad. Brady, too. That's right. Brady didn't finish his career in New England. There's always one team who will sign the over-the-hill quarterback. By the way, Jason Cole's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. I'll ask him what he makes of what's going on here in Philly. Sills, it's the saying players resemble the coach. If the players get coached hard, they'll play hard. But getting coached to play risk-averse, what do you expect? Okay. The defense don't play like that, though. Am I right when I say this about the Eagles this past year? The Eagle defense didn't match at all in any way coaching style to the offense. The Eagles defense was coached so brilliantly. How many people would say that Vic had a better year this year than he did a year ago? I think Vic Fangio had a better year this year. They took his number 1 ranked defense apart, made it a top 10 defense. I thought Vic had a spectacular year this year. God, he was good. I get it, Niner game. Man, he was good, though. Man, he was good. Do you think Jalen spends too much time lifting? Honestly, look at May, Stafford, Lamar, Mahomes, all similar builds, but they can really sling that rock. Thoughts? I don't have a problem with a guy working in the weight room. Weight room's not going to make you a football player. Film room is. It's the film room that makes you a football player. Dude, you're in the league. Everyone knows you're good. You know, it's always funny when I hear, hey, you see that guy at the combines? He ran a 4.4. He jumped 27 vertical. Do you see that guy run those cones? All that bullshit you guys like. I like the combines. But 99% of that bullshit does put no factor in how football players looked at. You'll never do any of those drills ever again. You train for that one time. You know that? You don't run 40s anymore. You don't run cone drills. You don't do vertical jumps. You don't run like the bags like that for a time. You run bags, you hit the sled, but you're not doing any of that bullshit. You do that one time. You do it at the combines. And you train for that. So let me get this right. Okay? Do you think that there's a difference between a guy who trains for that and is really good at that shit versus a guy who may not be a good, like, gym guy like that, but he's a great football player? That's why you get that guy wrong all the time. You look at the gym shit and you're like, wow, whoa, woo, hee. You see that dude in shorts? Hoo. You're like M. Reyes. You see that guy in shorts? Woo, hee, oh boy, hee. What about his game film? It was okay. He wasn't really productive and he wasn't really producing. But hey, woo, hee, ooh. I mean, hey, the guy was great at the combines. What was his game film? You're like, you see Tom Brady? Tom Brady looked like fat dad body. Had a little gut. Had that little, chest hair that Sue likes. Nope, no chest. Flat. He looked like a librarian. Kind of guy Sue likes. He's 6'5" and a stiff. And he's sitting there and he's like this. He's a little really dorky. I'm sure you like dorks, Sue. So he's sitting there and he's like, then he runs a 5'5", 40. Right? One of them guys can run your fingers through his hair. Like, the little guy with the little thing in his middle of his deal, whatever it is. I don't know. And Brady was sitting there with his gray shorts on. And you're like, that guy's going to win 7 Super Bowls? How do you look at that guy and go, that guy won 7 Super Bowls? He was in 10 conference championship games, and he won 10 conference championship games, and he's a 7-time Super Bowl. And that guy looks like Sue's boyfriend, a dork. You got to be kidding me. Right? I mean, and plus he's as soft as M. Reyes. Hey, kidding me? Guy goes on to win 7 Super Bowls. Sue was right in the end. She picked the right guy. She didn't pick the guy that, he walks out, he looks like Adonis. How you doing? Flexing away. Big guns, Put them guns up. Let me get this son B up. Boom, gets those guns up like big cells. How you doing? I'd drop the hammer on your asses. Now, she like that little guy. I'll take the little guy in the corner there that eats cheese doodles. I'll take that cheese doodles. What'd you think, Leon? Big Sills wasn't in there? What'd you think there, Junior? I'll come off the top rope on you, Junior. Big Sills built like a bottom of this. Hey, Leon, what'd you think? They went away? Come on, Junior. Chest hair, Sue. See them combine guys, right? Yeah. Hey, M. Reyes, don't get excited. Don't need you to start sending me love letters. I can't have it. I can't take it. Not very good at that shit. Love to hire Sil. Absolutely, man. Congratulations, Dallas Cow. Hey, congratulations, Dallas Cowboys. You hired a hell of a coach, I think. Sills, can you check out Chris Bell for Louisville wide receiver? I think he could be down there in a second because of an ACL injury. He plays like AJ. Also, he plays slot. I will. Okay? Uh-oh. I'd get lost among Josh Allen's emails anyway. Yeah, me and Josh go back and forth. Yeah. You should see Philly fans. They're so jealous of you. Yeah, Josh. Yeah, they're jealous of you. They got a stiff here in Philly, and they know that you're the deal. Oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah, and Reyes sends you emails too. Interesting. Still's emailing, I think. Yeah, the other day my emails got like something. I don't know. I had to call somebody. I had to get help. You know what he said? Log out, log back in. All right. Boy, I'll tell you, man. The news in the NFL. So I told you guys this. The free agency period, Jason Cole's going to come up here in a second here, is I believe the new start of the year is March 12th. That's 50, some odd, less than 50 days away. Then after that, you got the NFL draft, which is like the 24th. That's 88 days away. The National Football League has buried people. Buried. When it comes to front page sports. And with all these jobs open, the hirings, and by the way, I'm going to get Jason, the first thing before we bring him up, I want to set it up. Nobody wants the Philly job. Brian Dable said, I'd rather take the Tennessee job because I get to have autonomy, bring my own OC, my own offensive line coach, wide receiver coach. Robert Sala's the D guy. He's going to be the O guy. Why not? Okay. Mike McDaniel was never taking a job in Philly. He was being recruited. I haven't really seen that process in the NFL and hirings in a long time. Most guys take a job because they have to take a gig. All right. So without further ado, our NFL insider, and you guys love him, and I know you do, and it's one of the reasons why we are bringing him up here. We appreciate him doing this for us. He is one of my dear friends. He is Jason Cole, our Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. He's here with us now, and we appreciate being here. How you doing, Jace?
I didn't know I was so big in Philly.
You are.
Is it because
you know what they tell me? Where is he? How come even Xander said, why you're not getting him on? And I'm going well, I've been used, he goes on my morning show in Tampa and what have you. And he goes, no, get his ass on here, man. So
you tell those people about the Miata. Yeah, it's a Mercedes.
yeah, Jason don't drive Miatas.
No, Jason's too. Number one, Jason's way too big for a Miata. Okay, let's just say that. Okay. But never mind. I won't even gloat about tax bracket. But yeah, there you go. Way too big.
You are so good. I love you. All right, Jace. Nobody wants this OC job. Is it because of the coach, or is it because of the quarterback?
Well, I do think that Daboll wanted to prove what he could do with somebody who hasn't worked with, because he's worked with Hurts before, right? And
Alabama.
Been there, done that with Hurts. Also knows what Hurts' limitations are, so he knows. Like, they had to do a lot of work to get Hurts to be what he was, temporarily at Alabama, right? And he ended up losing his job. So you don't know how much trust or lack of trust exists between the two men based on what happened at Alabama. But I would say that he took Hurts a long way. I don't know that he feels like he can take him any further. With Ward, the feeling is, like, if I take this guy, I know that I can take him much further distance. I'm starting at the bottom, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my only way is up. If I go to Philly and I don't win a Super Bowl, I get fired again, right?
Yeah.
And a year from now, if this doesn't go right with Sirianni and everybody else, I'm out on the street looking for another job, right? So you have some rope in Tennessee of probably 3 years to see what you can do with,
Cam Ward.
Yeah, with Cam Ward. I mean, to me, it's more logic based than anything else. It's not so much about I hate the player. Now, on top of that, this team's dysfunction. And so how do you solve the dysfunction? How do you bring peace back to this group that's not getting along? You've got a number one receiver who is, a pain in the ass right now.
And wants out. And wants out.
And you got a quarterback who has obvious limitations, even though, look, if anybody ever complains about Jalen Hurts in Philly, like, they got to be slapped. because that guy's held up his end of the bargain. All right. You got the 2 Super Bowls. He's played as great as he possibly could in those Super Bowls. Again, he held up his end of the bargain. Is he a perfect quarterback? No, we've talked about this before. There are things that he has to do to be more functional, and there are people that you have to surround him with, like A.J. Brown, like Devontae Smith, like a Dallas Goedert, like a Saquon Barkley.
Do you think that Nick Sirianni's a good coach? I want to give you a report. Jeff McClain from the Philadelphia Inquirer said that there were thoughts that Jeffrey Lurie was going to fire him after the 23 season. And there was even a comment, Jace, that even after the first 4 games in 24 that they were thinking of firing him. Do you believe that Nick Sirianni's a good coach?
I mean, the record speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Okay.
You can't go to 2 Super Bowls and win one and almost win both of them and not be a good coach. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a 10-year coach or that you're gonna exist somewhere for 20 years in a place, right? So he may be a guy who has a very, very short shelf life, and you played for a guy like that, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy was good for short spurts of time.
That's right.
And then the act wore out.
5 years.
All right. 5 years, anywhere he went. University of Miami, Dallas, Dolphins. That was it. You were going to get five years, and that's all he could handle. And that may be the story of Sirianni as well. And so, look, he rubs people the wrong way. He annoys the crap out of people. There's no question about it. All right. And that just may not last very long in that world.
So wearing your welcome out more than anything else in Philly by the end of it all.
Oh, wearing your welcome out. There's a combination of wearing your welcome out, and there's a great line from Larry Bird, right? Who once said, he goes, eventually every guy runs out of speeches.
That's right.
Okay. He may not have that many speeches, right? He just may not. And it's hard for guys to recreate themselves. And that's why, like even Larry Bird was like, hey, when he was coaching, he was like, I don't know, I'm only going to last so long. And then guys are tired of hearing me. So, that may be the case with Sirianni, and maybe a shorter shelf.
Short timer, right? Something like Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh was a 9-year guy. He didn't coach 10 years. Remember,
let's just say this:
Bill Walsh always say that there was a 10-year window for a coach?
Yes, and even he didn't want to make it to that long. Like he had to be told so many times, "Look, Bill, either you're the coach or you're fired." Because there were a bunch of times that he wanted to quit and go and move up to be a GM and oversee it. And Eddie DeBartolo would say, no. You're either the coach or you're fired. And you can choose, but that's how this is going to be. And then the final time, and this is, because Bill would just be worn out at the end of every season. He was, he just pushed the limits in terms of what he could do. He was gassed. And so finally at the end of year 9, when he complained again, about, he was tired and this and that. And it was like, Eddie was like, okay, fine. Seifert's the guy. You're done. Thank you. And then Walsh was like, well, wait. It's like, no more waiting. We're tired of the routine.
You're right. Because I got him on KNBR. After he retired. And Jason, he said he regretted leaving the 49ers at the end. He said that, I probably should have stayed for another 3 years. But he said he regretted to me. I remember that now in KNBR. Bill said that, I probably was too emotional after the last Super Bowl.
Yes, he was.
I probably should have stayed.
Right. But he was worn. Like he was a low moment. He was worn out. He was, he was spent. And so what did he do? He went to, as he had done four times before, he went to Eddie and said, I just feel like I'm done. And it was like, okay, fine. I got another guy to do it. We're okay. Like he was just done with the whole process. So Sirianni, just to get back to the original point with Sirianni, he just may run his course, and that's okay.
Let me go up to Buffalo here. So why does Terry Pegula, the owner of the Bills, feel the need to go back and run over Sean McDermott again?
Because he took a lot of criticism for firing a good coach. And look, and Sean McDermott is a good coach. He didn't get there. And instead Terry Patullo has never been big on being in the public eye, doesn't really understand what it's like, is not used to criticism. So when people say you did a crappy job and you do it, you did a crappy thing in getting rid of this guy, so quickly. And not everybody's saying that, but enough people did, that he's got thin skin. Okay. Because being the owner of an oil company is a whole lot different from a PR standpoint than being the owner of an NFL franchise. When you own an oil and energy company, very few people talk to you and they don't boo you. All right. When you own the Buffalo Bills and you've had another frustrating season, guess what? Darts get pointed at you too, pal. And so a lot of people are like, hey, you stupid, whatever. You just fired a guy who's been that good for us for 9 years. And that's not everybody, but it's enough people where they say where the owner gets thin skin, he doesn't like it. And so, hey, guess what? This is what you bought, pal. This is you wanted to own the team.
Comes with it.
This is what comes with it. When things are bad, if you're crying about it, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you because you're a billionaire. Number B, don't throw the guy under the bus because that looks bad. That looks even worse. Suck it up and take it. And if you don't like it, call the Rooneys or call the Maras and ask them how they handle it.
That's right, man. Absolutely. So I'd like to have known the hiring process of Mike McDaniel and Jim Harbaugh. I mean, that must have been the weirdest interview in the history. Can you imagine those two guys in the same room talking football?
No.
I wouldn't know what they were talking about. How do you think that's going to work?
There's an old line about I can't use it. Not on this show. We're getting too much trouble. We're getting into too much trouble. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Yeah, we'll get into too much trouble if I say what I want to say, but it is the oddest coupling of offensive coordinator and head coach that I've ever seen. And part of it is the weirdness of Mike McDaniel. Trying to communicate with the weirdness. I mean, because look, Jim Harbaugh's a weird dude. Like he's out there, man. Like I love Jim Harbaugh. I love Mike McDaniel. They're characters. I like people who are different.
That's right.
And they may win together, but they're freaky people.
Is it too eccentric? Is it too eccentric for you, like, to think this thing will work?
Look, for me,
I think they're going to win the Super Bowl next year.
They might. You never know. The only problem I have with this is Mike McDaniel likes to play from outside in. You know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
He wants to throw the ball around to create
Jim's
space.
inside out. That's right.
Right. And Jim is an inside out guy. And so, you're sitting down, you're designing a game plan, and Jim Harbaugh knows offensive football. The dude was a quarterback, right? Like he's
17 years.
He's no schmuck when it comes to figuring out offense, right?
Yep.
If you tell him, we're gonna throw the ball outside, and then we'll set up these gaps that we'll run through for big gains, he's gonna we gotta pound people. I don't know how the game plan meetings are gonna go. But they got a lot of ideas. Yeah. And if they figure out a way to communicate, you could have magic there. But like if you were talking about guys to marry philosophies together, that's not the first two I'd pick.
No. I was
the only one you would ever find that was worse would be like Mouse Davis. Nobody knows who that is, but who was the old Hawaii coach who was a run and shoot guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, the guy
he was coaching Atlanta for a while.
He was, and he was also at SMU. What was that coach's name?
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, famous run and shoot guy. Like if you said I'm going to take a run and shoot guy and put him with Jim Harbaugh, I go, what are you wasting your time for? What are you doing here? And the other thing about it is, look, they have to fix their offensive line and do some very specific things. They got to get healthy. The left tackle's got to be healthy. They got to fix some offensive line. And I will say this is the one thing about McDaniel: the offensive line was never very good
No.
in Miami, and so like, are you going to focus on that or not? But you give him Herbert, Justin Herbert and McDaniel. I mean, you can make a lot of noise with that pair.
That's right, June Jones.
June Jones.
Jones. That's it.
Good dude. I like June Jones a lot, but June Jones, Jim Harbaugh, never, ever.
Couple more here for you. I'm hearing Mike Tomlin is never going to coach again and ever. I heard that he's never going to step back in, that he's had it. And plus the way it ended in Pittsburgh, fire Mike Tomlin. Now look, he's got thick skin and all this. And next year in the hiring cycle, someone's going to throw $25 million. If you throw $20 million at John Harbaugh, you're going to throw $25 million. Do you think that Mike Tomlin ever coaches again, or is this the last we've ever seen of him?
I hope he does. I mean, I think he's a good coach, and I think he's a good leader. I think he knows how to deal with. I think he knows how to deal with men and how to get stuff out of people. Like, look, Antonio Brown
and Le'Veon Bell.
Well, but Le'Veon was playing hard, until
because of money. Yeah,
that was purely a money thing.
Yeah,
Antonio was crazy.
Yes, it's crazy.
He might be the. I mean, there are some Miami dudes out there who are pure Miami, but there is nobody in the football world who's more Miami than Antonio Brown. He's the most Miami dude, I think.
More than T.O.?
T.O. ain't a Miami guy. He's a wannabe Miami guy. Like, no. Antonio, you ain't never seen T.O. with guns.
No.
Antonio's on a gun charge. Like, that is straight up Miami. Okay. Like,
oh,
I'm not saying to you. I'm not flashing.
You're saying South Florida, dude.
I'm talking about, that's a better way to put it.
Okay.
You've corrected me. There's no one in the NFL more South Florida, more nutbag, crazy South Florida, than Antonio Brown.
Wait.
And there's a lot of dudes. There's the Blades brothers are way up there.
Wait, I got one. Tony Montana.
Antonio is like
Antonio Montana.
His goal is to be Tony Montana. His goal. Yeah.
Who do you think gets that Pittsburgh job? How about Chris Shula? Wouldn't that be wild, that Shula being a coach of the Steelers?
Well, he fits the profile.
He does.
I mean, look, if you're drawing up the profile, 30-ish guy, defense, tough guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he's perfect. Clint Kubiak? Did they change their whole MO of, we always chase defensive guys, but for the first time in 60 years or 56 years, first time in 56 years, we decided to change directions and go with an offensive guy? That's a tough call. Like, that's going against serious tradition to go offensive guy.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Do you think Lamar Jackson gets traded to the Raiders? You think they start completely all over again? Supposedly, now the rumor is that Brady and the Raiders were down in South Florida actually for the Monday night game.
Well, it's not a rumor. They were there. He was actually there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there for Fernando Mendoza. Wanted to watch him play. He wins a national title. Or there's conversation that potentially the Ravens would want to start completely over again, and then go with, and again, you'd get a first round pick. You'd get the number 1 overall pick.
I will say this about Lamar Jackson. And it takes big stones to do this. I mean, gargantuan stones. And it takes the owner to sign off on this and to agree with this philosophy. But Lamar Jackson may qualify as a guy you want to trade a year too early than a year too late.
That's right.
Because look, it's the way in which he plays. He's only going to slow down. And you already saw it last year after the injury when he couldn't run in the second half of the season. he was not as an effective a player. Now, is he going to come back and be that guy? I hope so, because that's a great player. But guys don't get faster in this league, and they don't maintain their speed. So the question is, where's the cliff? How close are you to the cliff? And I will say this. If you could get the Raiders to trade you a first-round pick plus some more other stuff, yeah, and the number one pick, and I get I'm getting close. I'm not. Let's just say this: there was one time and I would have said about guys like Brady and even a guy like Lamar or Manning. I used to say this. Yeah, I'll talk to you about trading, Peyton Manning if you want. Let's start with 6 first-round picks. Like, I mean, it has to be something completely crazy.
That's what Jimmy Johnson said. If you were going to ever trade Mahomes, I'd say, he goes, 5 number ones. He's untradeable. It's not happening. There's certain guys.
It's an impossibility to trade him, right? And so I would just say this, with Lamar, you start, okay, the number 1 overall, another number 1. Yeah, of course. 3. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And I got Mendoza on the board, who I like. Maybe I like, maybe I don't.
I won with Flacco.
Look, I'll just say this. I'm not afraid to think about it. I know I'm going to, if I'm the general manager, I know, I have to know. Does my owner say, cool, I'm on board with it and you'll survive? Because you can't have Terry Pagula, all right, who's going to throw everybody under the bus afterwards. You have to have a guy with big shoulders like Bisciotti, who's not afraid to fire a guy like Harbaugh after a successful run, to say this. But let me just come back to this. If your intention all along was to trade Lamar Jackson, why did you fire Jim Harbaugh? Yeah. That's where things don't make sense. I mean, that's where I sit here and I say, okay, maybe, but I'm going to have to be talked into it by the next coach to see what they want to do. So there's some logical problems that to it. But again, to say, would I trade Lamar Jackson? 2 years ago, I would have said no way, or I would have said, give me 5 or 6 first-round picks. 2 years later, depending on what the injury situation looks like, I'm not so afraid.
Yeah, 2 1s, a 3, and Greenland. I'm ready to roll. All right, so
the Danish dog. The Danish dog.
I'm not getting that either, man. Greenland, I'm not getting it, man. I don't care about Greenland as far as, hey, I care about my egg price.
Yeah, but there's actually a logical reason to do that.
Yeah, I know. It's like strategic and all that. And
it's mineral rights. There's minerals in
under the ice and all that. I kind of get it.
Yeah, but let's not get into this. So.
No. Okay, AFC Championship game. Does Sean Payton make that game interesting? And do you think he's got enough in the coaching bag? Or is this just going to be all New England in this game, in the AFC Championship game on Sunday?
My heart tells me
I could see them winning this game. Broncos.
Well, I say this. I don't know so much as I see them winning this game as I can see the Patriots losing it, because you have a young quarterback and a team that what is it about the Patriots that just wows you?
Nothing. The coach
is terrific. The corner is good, right?
Yep.
Corner's real good. They got a lot of really good players. I do like the quarterback a lot. I don't know what the
defense may be a little underrated, but it's nowhere near the Texans.
There ain't nobody stone in the middle of that defense. Like, there's no middle linebacker, there's no defensive tackle, there's no defensive end. There's nobody who's rocking the house saying we're gonna take, we're taking no prisoners kind of thing. That's not what their defense is. They're very smart. They do their job, which is a classic Patriots thing. Vrabel's very good at this. I think Vrabel learned everything that Belichick had and married it to a guy who has personality, all right, and knows how to sell it to players because he was a player, I mean, I got a great story about Vrabel and how he got along with Belichick that I cannot repeat on your show, but it's terrific. We'll say it privately and figure it out how to
Okay.
get it understood. But I like nobody in this thing is invincible, and it has stayed that way. We've narrowed the field, but nobody's invincible. So if you say to me, look, here's the other thing to just consider about the Patriots. They got 4 turnovers in the first half against Houston, and it was still a game.
I know. Right.
It was still somewhat in doubt. It was never really in danger.
Right.
But they didn't, if you get 4 turnovers in a playoff game, you should be blowing people out.
Yeah,
you should be winning by 2. You should be winning by 2 touchdowns minimum. It should have been like the Seattle San Francisco game. That's what that should have looked like. It was not. And because it was not, that tells me that Patriots are, they're
beatable.
Good. Beatable. And so can you run the ball enough? Can you, keep Stidham from having to make too many big plays? And you can play enough defense at home against that team? Those are all the questions you got.
Don't you have a little more respect for Josh McDaniels now? Or maybe you never lost it. As a coordinator, don't you have more now in what he's doing with Drake May, with a different regime, a different head football coach? I say this, if he puts that team in a Super Bowl with another quarterback, I mean, Jace, you might consider him one of the better coordinators that we've had in the NFL, because this guy's developed people, man. He had Jimmy Garoppolo, who went on to be a starter, got to a Super Bowl. He developed him when he was there. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm getting more and more respect, and I love the fact that Vrabel brought him in and said, I want that. That was the first hire. He said, Get me that guy. Have you gained a little more respect back for him after what happened as the head coaching stuff?
No, because I never lost any respect for him
right.
as a coordinator. I think he's a great coordinator. I think he's a guy who wasn't ready for the first job, picked a really bad second job.
Yep.
Okay. And got undermined in a bad place. Like that was right now the Raiders are like a
train wreck.
It's a train wreck. It's going to kill you. And I know, Pete went there and just got a paycheck and got his guys paid. And that's fine. Whatever. That was a bad decision by Mark Davis. Like, he was just like, what?
And Pete.
No, Pete doesn't. He got a big chunk of change.
So you say he did it like Parcells did it when he got that Miami job, and he really didn't want to do anything with that Miami gig. Because remember Parcells did it after a divorce when his old lady took half his money, and he went down to Miami and he became the GM of the place, and he did it half-assed. I thought he did a half-assed job there.
I think, yes, he did do a half-assed job there. And I think that Pete did a half-assed job. And I don't know if he did it because of some other motivation other than it's hard to do, man. Like this, like people forget, like you get to that, like this is hard work. This is, it's 24/7. It's like, and you're 70 something years old, man. And it's like, I know you're spry and you're energetic but man, just go do TV. Just go. If you want to get a paycheck and you want to be involved in the game and you want to raise the chance to make it the Hall of Fame and all those things we talk about, just go do TV. Because especially when you're trying to do a full-on rebuild on an organization, like, I mean, come on, man. When you're that age, you got to go in and just take a ready-made situation where it's like, look, you just need the fine-tuning. And I would even say that, like, we talked about John Gruden and how much I think he's, overrated and mediocre. But I would always say this about John Gruden. If I had, like, John Gruden, if he wanted to be the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, sign me up.
Yeah.
I'll take that. If he wants to be the head coach, like if you want to get rid of Sirianni and you wanted to hire John Gruden, you can get it through. Sign me up because I got a team that's close. And all I need is to get through a year or two. Again, his shelf life is short.
Right.
Boom. Right. I get what I want. And then I'm, after 3 or 4 years, I pay him his money and I move on. that kind of thing.
That's right, man. Jimmy Johnson told me he lived 3 minutes from the Dallas Cowboy facility because he was there every single time and cost him his marriage with Linda Kay. And okay, well, look, okay, there were a few more things that were around the corner on that.
Let's not try to.
Okay, I was trying to paint him into a nice guy here. All right.
Let's not go there. I like
all
Jimmy.
right.
I spoke up for Jimmy Johnson to make the Hall of Fame. I love Jimmy Johnson a lot, but let's not reinvent history, okay? Let's call it what it is. Okay, let me just along those lines, though. Those lines. See, when he got to Miami, he was toast.
Okay, fair enough. He knows me too well. I tried to paint him in. I tried to paint the cracked boat up a little bit, and it didn't work. All right, NFC title game. I'm gonna make this. So if you're the Jets and you watch Sam Darnold do this, he pushes up a Lombardi trophy, and you're old Woody, and you had Joe Namath 2.0. Oh my God. Hey, Jace, what a story that would be that Woody Johnson led Joe Namath 2.0 out of the building if that guy
wait a sec.
No. I'm talking Joe Namath raising a Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
Had the guy.
Yeah.
Well, wait, hold on here. He's 29-6 in 2 years.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah.
You still think he's a pumpkin? That's why I can see it on your face. You think he's a pumpkin.
No, I don't think that. I think he's a mid-level starter. Okay, who's been on a couple of great.
Wait a minute. Wait, let me get this for all the Jalenites out there and Jalen Hurts guy. So a mid-level quarterback can win the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, look, it's happened. Look, in the history of the league, there have been times when mid-level quarterbacks have been able to win.
Okay.
All right. And most famously, there was a period in the late 90s, early 2000s where you had
Hostetler.
Trent Dill. Well, Hostetler's the 80s. But you
90 Super Bowl.
Yeah. But like I'm talking about 2000, 2001, 2002.
Okay, yeah. Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson.
Right, and a second year Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady quite yet.
Nope.
It's not. He was he was helped there much more by the defense and how they play. Right. That was a short little window. I think we're in that same little window right now, where all the good quarterbacks this year, with the exception of Stafford, have been knocked out. Right. And
Go ahead. Do business. No. I know you're a business man.
I'm okay.
Driving me out.
Yeah, but this is otherwise. Yeah, if I don't do business, I drive me out.
I got it.
No, just saying. There's times, and so I think we're in that era where we've had a bunch of guys retire out of the league. Both Mannings, Brady's retired. Rivers, is basically retired. Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers is in the last days. We're transitioning to the next era of quarterbacks, and we still have Burrow, but he's out. We still got Lamar Jackson, but he's out. Patrick Mahomes is hurt now. Josh Allen screwed up a game, right? So we only have one of those quarterbacks left. We don't have 7 or 8 of them right now, the way we once did. Roethlisberger was another guy. He's retired. He's going to be up for the Hall of Fame next year, right?
Yep.
So Drew Brees retired. So we're in that in-between stage, and this is where you can sneak through with a quarterback who's a league average guy. Oh. So I think Sam Darnold is a league average starter, with the exception that he has a big arm and he can put some balls in places that a lot of other guys can't. What he doesn't do well to me is he doesn't react under pressure very well. Like he doesn't. He still sees ghosts, and that's for guys who don't quite see it fast enough. I mean, everybody at every level of athletics, if they've played long enough, has that moment where like they get tricked by vision, right? They get tricked by what's around them, and they're like, wait a sec, where'd that come from? Because they haven't played in a long time, or they haven't practiced in a while, or they're just not sharp, or they're, whatever it happens to be. And so for some of us, it happens at like high school, okay? And for some of us, it happens at college, and for a few of us in the pros, who are lucky enough to get there. Sam Darnold had that moment, right? And I don't think that that's gone away. There are still moments where I think the game moves just a tiny bit too fast for him, whereas you look like a Brock Purdy, and he sees the game at the speed of the game. He doesn't have the arm of Sam Darnold, so he doesn't make the same kind of throws. And that's the downside of Brock Purdy, but he sees it fast enough. And like Jalen Hurts, we talk about Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts sees the game the same way that other guys do. It's just, that's what they are. And so Sam, to me, is a guy with amazing arm talent, amazing ability in a lot of ways. But if you're asking me, do I trust him to get through a Super Bowl where he has to make 5 or 6 big plays? Oh, hell no. Hell no.
Final question for you. Does Belichick and Brady, if you were a Hall of Fame voter and you had just a guess, do you think that Belichick and Bob Kraft go into the Hall of Fame?
God, I hope so. I hope so. I said this during the meeting. They deserve to go in together, whether they like it or not.
You think it happens?
The math is hard. It's not, again, I come back to, it's a math problem. You have 5 guys eligible between the coach, the contributor, and 3 senior candidates. And the senior candidates are Elsie Greenwood, Roger Craig, and Ken Anderson. In order to gain election, you have to get 40 votes.
Jason,
right?
If he wins a 7th Super Bowl, what are you guys talking about in the room? I'm talking.
It's a math problem.
Man,
I'm not like, because again,
I completely agree. It's a math problem that no one sees 7 Super Bowls.
I think he deserves to go in. I think it's a no doubter. But again, I tell you, they've created a system, unfortunately. And look, I think the Hall of Fame means well, but this is an unintended consequence. That, look, Belichick's going to get, probably, my guess is he's going to get over 40 votes. He's going to get 45, 46, 47. He's not going to get all 50. Not everybody's going to abide by him. Okay? Because there are some people in there who, take the cheating stuff and take it a lot more seriously than I do. And they have a right to do that. I don't, do I think there's more than 10? No, I don't think so. But are there 3, 4, 5? Sure. Okay. So he's not going to get all of them, but every vote that he gets above 40 is one less vote that the next guys can get. So all of a sudden, if you take 45 out of the 150 votes, you've only got 105 votes left for 4 guys. And the players are pretty, Again, I think in this case, it's a rare case where there's an executive contributor who far outweighs a player. Most of the time, my belief is a player deserves to get in ahead of an executive. But in this case, no. Robert Kraft is way ahead of all these guys. But like, let's just say that, Roger Craig gets 25 and Ken Anderson gets 20 and Elsie Greenwood gets 30. There ain't enough votes left.
No, there's not.
Right. And like, that's easily possible. And yeah, people are going to rip us, and it's fine. I've been ripped for 13 years since I started picking the Hall of Fame. That's just the way it goes. All right. You get used to it. It's sort of like,
there's more than 3 this year.
Well, on the other side,
yeah,
on the modern day, no, the math doesn't work. Because I think you got. My belief is that Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees are going to swallow up a ton of votes, and again, there in that one there's 250 votes. I think they're going to get close to 100. That only leaves 150 votes out for the other 13, the other 5 guys.
Yeah,
who made the finals, right? Like, I just think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So I think only 3 guys in the modern, And I'm just telling you, we got 12, 13 completely legitimate guys.
Armando was railing with me the other day going, I don't know how we're going to ever in a million years ever get more than 3 dudes into the Hall of Fame.
Well, you can get more than 3, but it takes like next year.
But it takes a slam dunk guy like in 27 when Brady's in.
Like next year is a possibility because there are like 4 or 5 guys. Like
Roethlisberger,
Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson. There's one other guy who's a top shelf guy, and then the year after you got Tom Brady and you got Tom Brady and Julio Jones, I think, something like that, right? Or Aaron, But you got Gronk next year. You've got Roethlisberger next year. You got Adrian Peterson next year. There's one other guy. There's even Andrew Whitworth, who's very deserving.
Richard Sherman's in that group.
Richard Sherman. So Richard Sherman is either the first or second best corner of his era, right? Adrian Peterson is a Hall of Fame running back. Gronkowski, and then Roethlisberger. If everything aligns and we all go, that's everybody votes for those 4 all the way long. Yeah, you can get those 4 guys in. But that means that the other 3 guys who make the finals get close to 0 votes each. And if anybody again gets more than 20 or 25 votes, it throws the whole thing into chaos. And one of those 4 guys, and they're all deserving, is going to be sitting out for a year. And here's the other part of it. Next year, there's 12 guys in this who made finalists who presumably, 12 guys I think who are going to come back next year because I think we're only going to get 3 in. A couple of those guys are going to get knocked out of the final 15 because of the guys who are coming in.
That's right.
So what happens like the Jari Evanses or, maybe God forbid you get a Torrey Holt or a Reggie Wayne who doesn't get in. Like those guys are deserving players, there's Marshall Yanda, offensive lineman, does he fall out of favor? That's part of the problem when we're only getting 3 in a year. And I do think it's going to be addressed sooner than later, but that's my guess. And I think that the people at the Hall of Fame are trying to do this right. And there are a bunch of reasons why, and we don't need to get into the reasons why, but it's hard.
You are picking Seattle and the Patriots to make the Super Bowl, right?
I think the Patriots. I don't know. I haven't really landed on this game yet. I think the Rams are actually a better team.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and I prefer to take the quarterback, so I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. But Seattle is like playing like a buzzsaw right now, and I think they won where they won their final 7 of the regular season, and now they've won 2 playoff games. I know one of them they kind of had to get through a little bit, but
2 road teams too, by the way.
Right, and what I just think about Seattle is in that second half or that last 4th quarter of the game against the Rams when they came back down 16, hit the 2-2s, and then in overtime hit another 2 to win the game. There's a point at which sometimes people start to believe, and athletes, and it's sort of like if you're a basketball player and if you've ever been out on the court and you think that everything that you're going to shoot will make it. Sometimes you just have those kinds of days, right? You are a shooter and you're throwing up rainbows from, World Be Free back in the day. You're just winging shots and everything's going in. I think Seattle's playing like that right now. And their defense is really good. And they're making enough plays on offense. They got the running game going. And Smith and Jigba is terrific. All those things. Sometimes you get on a roll. It's like Nick Foles. We'll take it right here. Nick Foles got on one of the greatest heaters of all time. And I felt like Nick Foles was and he was a basketball player, remember, in college. He was a shooting guard. And I just remember watching him during the playoffs when they put him in shotgun. I remember watching going, I feel like this is a two guard who's getting the ball in his hands and the ball's coming out right away. Like he's shooting jump shots right now. And he's so good. It's like it's coming out fast and he can hit every shot right now.
Actually,
And
he played hoop in Arizona too. I mean, he played hoop in Arizona too. Funny,
he was a good two guard.
Yeah,
Good enough to play college basketball. And like I'm sure he had those days. And he got into such a groove as an athlete. It felt like he was shooting jump shots at the park on a day when it's all coming down and where it's all raining in. Like that's how I felt. And I feel like Seattle as a team is playing that way right now.
You got it. Jace, I can't wait to see what happens this weekend. Thank you for always finding so much time for me. And you are a dear friend. Are you going to Super Bowl?
I will not be there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be in Florida in February. I'm going to take you to lunch. Okay. So I'm going to take
you're going to come to Gainesville?
I'm going to be around Orlando, so we'll meet halfway.
You come, no, there's no halfway between. There's Ocala. We're not doing.
There's Apaka. It's above. We can meet in Apaka, the home of Jerome, or the home of Warren Sapp.
You got to drop. I'm not stopping near Warren Sapp's home. I don't need to do that. You got to drive.
Won't get down there.
It's a home game for me, pal. All right, I'll see you.
All right, man. I'll see you, man. All right, that is Jason Cole. We appreciate him very much. Thank you. That is awesome, man. I love talking with Jason. I just got a little bit of a tidbit here. Okay. I want to give you a little insight here. So I just got a conversation here. So, Craig Carton, my boy who works with me on weekends. Now, Craig works during the week with Sports Grid, just sent this over and sent this to me and said that one of the holdups with the offensive coordinating job with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagles, who arguably have the best roster in football, McDaniel said, no, thank you. Brian Dable's like, I think I'd rather go to Tennessee. That dude, Jeff Stoutland, is not giving up his job as run game coordinator. And those guys turned the job down because of Stoutland. Craig Carton, thank you. They turned the job down because of Stoutland. All the coordinators don't want to work with Jeff Stoutland. Those high-profile guys. They want to bring in a run coordinator. Jeff Stoutland is the run coordinator, not just the O-line coach. It's funny, nobody's ever brought his name up. You know, if Kevin Patullo failed, what was the number one part of the offense that failed? It was the run game. If you're telling me, well, here, let's go here. I'm not telling, wait a minute. Let's dissect this first. Hold on here. How many people think that Saquon Barkley's, how many people believe that Saquon Barkley's out of gas? How many people believe he's toast? I don't. Okay? I don't. I just text Craigie. And he's like, you know, where it is that these guys were in there and they wanted to have it. But here, follow me here. Isn't that why Cliff Kingsbury didn't get the job? It's because he wanted to move off of Jeff Stoutland. I don't get why Stout wants to be the run game coordinator as well. Just be the O-line coach. It's not hard. Well, wait. If the run game failed and the offense failed, Stoutland failed too, no? He failed also. I think he's getting close, hence Tank's production, but he needs more carries to see consistency. Damn, Sills, you make it seem like they'd rather work at McDonald's. Well, hey, Jeff, Brian Dable would rather work in Tennessee with the shitty Titans than work in Philly. I think you answer your comment, no? Why would a guy want to work in Tennessee where you're going nowhere? Instead of working with Saquon Barkley and working with a more talented roster. Why would you choose that? Hey, let me do this. Let me go to a place that I have no shot at winning versus a place that will win, but I got to deal with this guy. I told your Kingsbury said it last. He wanted to get rid of Stoutland. Well, that was the hang-up once they had the 3-year deal on the table. He wanted to bring his own run game guy in. Hey, what's Dable done? Why are these guys being highly sought after then? You know, it's funny. Marcus, what has he done? My book, nothing. Well, why are these guys being so sought after then? Somebody has to know something. Because if they go by, excuse me, if they go by your notion, what have they done? Why do so many teams want to hire him? Why does he get to tell the Eagles, I have no interest? By the way, Mike McDaniel did a Zoom with the Eagles. He didn't even show up. And the Eagles recruited him hard. Don't let anybody tell you. You know how we know that? People in the Charger organization told me that. Go look. They follow me on X. And those guys were telling me he had numerous opportunities. He could have went to Baltimore. He could have went to Tennessee. He may have been, if he stayed in there, he may have been offered the Browns head coaching job. He didn't want to do that. Like, it's almost coming out where he like turned down the Browns job. He didn't want to coach. Let me see one more thing here on him, on Mike McDaniel. Because I believe they did a Zoom with him. Yeah. Okay. Richard Flowers, that's the guy who reps him. Yeah, Richard Flowers reps him. That's a CIA guy. Okay? Chat, it's time to move on from Stout. Hey, listen, I'm not saying anything of that right now. I'm just telling you that Craig Carton just said that he knows Brian Dable because Brian Dable was the head football coach in New York with the Giants, and he has talked to Dable, and Dable said that they love Stoutland and they're not moving off of him. A lot of people want to move off of Stoutland who are interviewing for that job. And the number one priority is that if you're going to – how do you know Kevin Patullo didn't fail because Stoutland failed? I think it's a great angle. I'm not telling you it's the right angle. I'm telling you that it does make sense because there's only one guy that's still in the building from the previous regimes. It's Jeff Stoutland, right? Why else would they not want the job? It can't be Nick. Maybe it is. Maybe it's Nick, Hurts, and Jeff Stoutland. If Stout's such a good coach, how can he not see Toth was better than Juergens? Dude, wait a minute. If you pay them, you play them. Remember that. Dable didn't have the balls to take the OC job here because he was afraid if it didn't turn the offense around, he'd be fired. It'd be 2-3 years of security in Tennessee because of less expectations. Could be something to that. But why are multiple guys turning the job down? Okay. Why did Mike McDaniel turn it down? Why did he have no interest? Let me guess. Weather and taxes and what other bullshit was being said? What was it? They like to eat figs in California. What other bullshit? What the weather? So they want Stoutland off the run game and just O-line entirely. I don't know. I just heard this. I'm going to do some deep diving tonight. Jeff failed because of injuries, in my opinion. Had one of the best running games just a year ago. I don't understand the coaches want their own. Well, what? No. Again, when you have options, you want to bring your own. He's going to bring his own offensive line guy in. Hey, by the way, you know what? I mean, Brian Callahan as an OC, how come you guys never interviewed him? You know why? He's an offensive line coach. You know, the former coach of the Titans? I mean, that guy was pretty good. I mean, why don't you interview him? He'd want to bring his dad in. Bill Callahan. That's why you didn't interview him. And that's why Bill Callahan's one of the best offensive line coaches in pro football, bar none. But if Brian Callahan, the former head coach of the Titans, were to get interviewed, he's bringing his dad in. I'm not saying anything. I'm just talking here. I don't like these coaches bringing their guys in. It's like a union. Well, wait a minute. If I'm going to bring my offense in and you've got coaches from the previous regime or work with Nick, and you're asking me to come in and improve something, how can I improve it with your dudes when they don't even know what I'm talking about? It's a contradiction. Hey, we want to hire you as OC, okay? Well, for me, this is what I envision. I envision this, this, and this. Spread this guy out. Do more of this. We're going to have exotic wideouts. We're going to run motion. The Eagles don't do any of that. They don't do any of that stuff. Bill Callahan is the O-line coach. Not a shocker, by the way. But here's how you can get him out of Atlanta. If the kid were to become the OC, you could make him. No, you couldn't, because that's a lateral move. You couldn't get him out of Atlanta. He's a really great. By the way, Bill Callahan, Jeff Stoutland, I think they're the same dude. I got to believe now that the Eagles have one more year to get it right, or Laurie is going to blow it up. Yeah, probably. I wish we had Josh Allen. That way we could complain about not having help. How would you not complain about having help when you have Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley? You have help. Hey, Sills, why is Doug Peterson still unemployed? Because he's being paid by Jacksonville and by Shea Khan, the owner of the Jags. He's got one more year, I believe. He signed a 3-year deal, was there 2. He may be out now, and his last year may have been this past season. So I think he's got one. I think he's now a free agent to go out and coach. So maybe he's going to start looking a little bit here. But, yeah, with the top candidates being hired elsewhere, why wouldn't they look at former quarterbacks and such like that? Frank Reich, I told you, he just was on today on Mike Florio's show. He echoed everything we said here 6 months ago. Folks, Mike Florio didn't break news. We had that 6 months ago. Frank said all that shit here. We have help because we had Hurts, remember? Just keep it real. Would you let Stout go? Whew. For who? Who's the OC want to bring in? If the OC wants to bring in a dude that's not in Jeff Stoutland's room, man, I'd rather go with a different OC. I'd rather go with, I don't know, man. Jimmy Johnson will tell you the most important coach in your building is your offensive line coach. The Eagles have made it clear. If you're the offensive coordinator, you're not the most important coach in the offensive building. It's Jeff Stoutland. Until Jeff Stoutland, I told you this a couple weeks ago. If Jeff Stoutland is still in the building, nothing's changing with Nick. You fire Stoutland, you got a guy coming in with more autonomy. Jeff Stoutland is the key to this. And they are not firing him. And it's a good question. Would I let him go? For who? Bill Callahan? What's the guy up in Detroit's name? Who's the O-line coach that I like? Lions O-line coach. Hank Fraley. People like that. Getting Dante Scarnecchia out of retirement. Those kind of guys for Stoutland? Yeah. But bring in a dude that what? Was my O-line coach with the Dolphins? No. Who was that guy? Was that the guy that got busted with cocaine? Who was the Dolphins offensive line coach? What's his name? I forget his name. Oh. He's a really good, talented guy. Oh, man. What was that guy's name? Chris Forster. Chris Forster is a really great. I don't know where Chris Forster is now, but that's another great offensive line coach. Is Chris Forster. Shields, would you bring in Chip Dip? Held to the no. Hey, no, I'm not bringing Chip Kelly in. Yeah, that guy Chris Forster's a really great offensive line coach. Had a drug problem in Miami and was fired, but I think he's been hired. I can't remember where. But that's another dude, man. He's a really exceptional coach. It's too bad. Too many egos in the building are pushing these guys away. It's pretty clear. Yeah, but wait a minute. I'm not telling you that the firing, just because Carton said it, don't mean it make it right. And if Craig's right, and here, inside story on why the Eagles can't find an OC. This is Craig. And he texts me. The Eagles would arguably have the best roster in football. McDaniel says, no, thank you. Brian Dable likes, I think I'd rather go to Tennessee. That dude, Jeff Stoutland, is not giving up his run game coordinating details. You are a dysfunctional organization. I told you, Stoutland's the key. I said this when they fired Kevin Patullo. If you see Stoutland still in the building, you're not going to get top flight guys. And that's exactly what's happened. Now, I'm not telling you, hey, let me bring Mike McDaniel in here. I want you to fire Jeff Stoutland. Cliff Kingsbury wanted you to fire him. And the Eagles said no. The Eagles were right. Why? You won a Super Bowl. You had one of the best run games of all time. You're not firing Jeff Stoutland. What, off of 1 year? No way. No way. I disagree with this. No way. For who? Hank Fraley? And get this. I wrote this topic down here. What will the Eagles do with the offensive line in 26? Funny, we wrote that here, one of my topics. As you can see, I write down a whole bunch of these things. What are you going to do? Okay? Wait a second. For a legit OC? Bro, you're 50-18 in 4 years. What are you talking about? Making it look better? So to make the fan base feel better about themselves? You've won 2 NFC championships. You've won a Super Bowl. And you want to bring in Mike McDaniel to change shit for what? To look like his offense? It was soft. The Eagle defense in 23 beat the shit out of them. And that was one of their worst teams. Mike McDaniel does not impress me. He's not impressed. That's why Xander asked me, he goes, what do you make of Matt Nagy? Okay, Matt Nagy, I'm all right. Yeah, sure. I actually listen to those guys. I get kind of talked into it. I don't really think it matters. I told you, when you fired Kevin Patullo, okay? When you fired him, it doesn't really make any difference. I never thought Mike McDaniels and his capris were going to fit on the sidelines. Calling plays and working with Nick. Nick might slap the guy. How about, those two dudes? Big Don would be in the middle of them guys. Because McDaniel would not tolerate anybody coming in and changing his plays. But at the end of the day, the head coach has to have some autonomy. Nagy's just a guy? I don't think so. But I think it's an interesting report that a lot of the OCs, now again, Craig Carton knows Brian Dable. He had him on his show at WFAN. And I know that they're close. I actually know that Craig's close with the owner of the Jets, too. So, here again, I'll just read this last thing, then we're going to bring Xander in here. Inside story here. By the way, Craig texts me, too, and he goes, hey, that's what I heard from Brian Dable. He'd rather take the Tennessee job because he wanted to bring his own offensive line guy in, and the Eagles said, we're not firing Jeff Stoutland. And then Dable reportedly said, well, how about if we take the run game coordinator title away and we bring another guy in? And they said no. So, further ado, let's see what Big Z says on that. Without further ado, let's bring our boy in. Big Z! Xander Krause joins us now.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What do you make, man? I mean, he's got a text. Craig kind of said it too. He said one of the reasons that Brian Dable was not inclined to take that gig was because he wanted the run game coordinating title to be taken away from Stoutland. And he wanted to have somebody else with that designation. And also Mike McDaniel also was one of the reasons why that he wanted. And this goes down the line of why Cliff Kingsbury didn't get the job a couple of years ago because he wanted to bring in his own run game coordinator. What do you make?
It's weird. I guess that's more common than I realized. I mean, getting that coach right. I mean, look, this isn't the team to do that. So I understand people want their guys, but sorry, I'm not flaking on Jeff Stoutland after one bad year when the offensive line was a shell of itself. I mean, that guy was also the run game coordinator when they ran for 2,500 last year. I didn't hear anything about that. I bet you Kellen Moore likes Jeff Stoutland. So, I mean, has Brian Dable done enough for all of you to sit here and say, get Brian Dable over Jeff Stoutland? Has Mike McDaniel done enough for you to say he's done enough? Get rid of Jeff Stoutland. I mean, come on here. I guess I get it in terms
but
of.
But it narrows the field. It narrows the field for the Eagles, though, with that parameter, right? You agree?
Well, so be it. I mean, here's at the end of the day, sometimes these other guys, all right, if it's going to narrow the field, maybe that is for the better, because most organizations, one, don't have a good operation. That's why they're never successful. The Eagles have been very successful. So Mike McDaniel, who didn't find success in Miami, Mike McDaniel, who came from an organization that hasn't found success in quite a long time, Brian Dable, who came from New York, another organization that hasn't found success in a long time. They don't know what they're doing.
No.
The Eagles know what they're doing. Now, they got their problems that we talk about all the time, but I'm not flaking on what they do for that. So it is what it is. But, yeah, I've always viewed Jeff Stoutland as an integral part of the Eagles.
He is.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm the Eagles, and I'm not, if I was, though, that guy can leave on his own terms. I mean,
bro, Jimmy Johnson said the most important hire in the building is your O-line coach.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
He said that here numerous times. Okay? Your OC is really not. Your O-line coach is your most significant guy that you can have in the building. I'm not hiring Brian Dable or Mike McDaniel to go, hey, Jeff, see you later. Bullshit. I'm not doing that. That's not dysfunctional. Actually, that's smart business. He's one of the top 3 guys, if not the top O-line coach in pro football. You're going to dump him because you want to hire an OC? Yeah. No freaking way, dude.
Yeah, no, not happening. And they're not even going to let the OC run their offense anyway. So the risk-reward of the whole situation doesn't even make sense.
What do you make of Christian Parker becoming the new defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys?
It's a good hire for them. I think the Eagles are positioned to handle the loss of a guy like that because of Vic Fangio. But by all accounts, I've heard he's obviously. I mean, we don't hear from him much, so it's impossible for me to know how good of a coach he's going to be. But it seems like he's going to be a good coach, and I think Dallas got somebody that obviously learned through a great deal of success. Especially defensively the last couple of years. He's been a big part of that secondary. You've had 2 guys come in, Quinyon and Cooper, who developed nicely. You had Adoree Jackson, who I understand that people didn't like him this year, but, I mean, he improved throughout the year to the point where he was no longer really that big of a liability, in the big games. I mean, they almost picked on Quinyon more in the playoff game than they did Adoree. Yeah. So I think Christian Parker's an awesome coach. I mean, the results of the team for here were awesome. And look, it's interesting. I said earlier how we shouldn't sit on his hands this summer or rest on his laurels because everybody's coming. The NFC East is not going to stay down. Okay, that's cyclical. That's how
Giants got better.
The Giants are going to be better. They got John Harbaugh. The Commanders will probably be a little better than they were. I don't know how much because I'm not a Dan Quinn guy, and I don't think they constructed the roster the right way. But I do think Jaden Daniels deserves some respect. I mean, he had I think he's a good player. And then you got the Cowboys, who I know, fans love to criticize them, but they had a great offense and a really bad defense. So if they can keep their great offense and that defense can get 25, 35, 45, 50% better than it was, that's going to be a formidable team, and this is kind of the things that Mark Holmes has said. So I think he's right, so the Eagles they got to be aggressive here, man. I think it's a good hire for the Cowboys, actually. I'm surprised. They normally like to go with I thought they were going to go a different route. Guys. Yeah, I thought they were going to go a different route. So I was a little surprised, but it's cool for Christian, man. It's good, man. That's at the end of the day, that's
you root for that.
You want. Yeah, you want good people, who do the work, who grind and who are worth it or who are worth their weight to get promotions. So
I think it's a good look for the Eagles in a way. I think people are like this. Well, you lost a guy. It's not a good week. And I'm like, dude, the idea is to find not only good players, but good coaches.
Yeah.
If you're a good team, good players and coaches are going to be taken from your team, are they not?
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. Well, good for him, man. Congrats to him on that's a big deal getting the Dallas, getting the coordinator position there. Big promotion for him. So pretty dope.
Zaner, it's almost been 10 days since you guys fired Kevin Patullo. I mean, it's almost been 10 days.
It feels like we're no closer, right? It feels like we're no closer to having a hire. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's just going to pop. I'm going to get the notification. Eagles hire Matt Nagy. Eagles hire somebody. Who knows? We will find out.
It's 10 days. What do you make of that? 10 days.
Well,
is that a big thing or not?
Yeah, I think it's a thing. I don't think it's I don't think it's a huge thing. I mean, how many teams right now are without an OC? Because here's the other thing with OCs is that a lot of times that position is always going to wait for the dominoes to fall of the head coaches. And I think that's now you're going to start to see that drain, clearing out a little bit where Harbaugh's gone. A bunch of the head coaches are now gone. So you're going to start to see the OCs filling in. But I got more questions and answers than I did 10 days ago. I think this team is it's just not an attractive offensive side of the ball. It's really not. For whatever reason.
With all that talent?
It's become – I thought Jason Cole's point was phenomenal about the chemistry of the room. Because you think about how the offense didn't perform well, but you don't think about the fact that – or at least it's not top of mind that a guy has to come in, not only live up to expectation, not only get people get the team, the offense back on track, not only placate to an owner that, is boom or bust when it comes to hiring and firing, not only placate to Nick Sirianni, not only build, around Jalen Hurts, but fix the cohesion and the locker room element of the offense. I mean, the first thing you got to do when you get hired here is you got to call AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And you got to say,
what's up?
All right, what's up? Are you, let's do this, man. I got a plan for you. I know how to make this work with you. You're going to be happy here. It's like part OC, part counselor, part, second fiddle to Nick.
Psychologist.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit going on here. So it's a tough sell.
There's too many egos in the huddle. Hurts, AJ, and Barkley.
I don't think Barkley's an ego. I think he's an ego. I don't think he's an ego like that, though.
No. Ego where I want the offense to run through me, and I want us to win. I want us to run. I'm not saying like this, hey, if we don't do it, I'm not saying he's got that outwardly ego. I'm talking about competitive ego. There's two different things. Competitive ego.
You want the rock. Yeah,
I think Jalen's got a competitive ego, don't you?
He knows in order for that to be the case, then guess what, dude? You're going to have to get more than 3.9 a carry, and you can't be losing yards on first down. Now, I don't think that was all Saquon's fault. I really don't. He didn't have a great year, but I don't think that was all on him. It was a lot of offensive line, especially when you rewatch the interior. But I think that's a fair point. I think the big thing here is the style of offense, and then to me, and I keep going there, and I know everybody gets mad at me, but dude, what style of quarterback does Jalen want to play, man? If you're telling me Jalen wants to be that dual threat, all right, I'm going to look at an OC and say, okay, come in here, get the most out of this player, put him in an environment to make plays again, because that's where he killed teams, and that's where you get AJ Brown running open. That's where you get Devontae Smith, opportunities. If that's what you're saying, all right, I feel pretty good about that. But if Jalen doesn't want to run, then I start to wonder, all right, are people right that Jalen has a lot more in the tool, in the skill set to throw the ball consistently? Are the people who are Jalen haters right that anytime you're going to throw the ball consistently over 30 times a game, you're going to be in trouble? Well, if your quarterback isn't going to run or make plays in the running game, it's going to call on him to play that other way more. We've never seen Jalen do that consistently. So it's a big if, it's a big if.
Super chats will be read at the end. Please hit the like button here. Okay, I got a question for you here. A couple of them. Does any OC believe if they come into Philadelphia that they're going to improve Jalen Hurts as a passer? Do you believe any guy who looks at that quarterback, do you believe heading into his 7th year, you're going to make him a better player in the pocket? Because if he's not going to run, you've got to make him a better passer. And by the way, if he don't run right now, Jalen Hurts' 2026 season, if that guy has as many rushing yards as he had this year, I'm moving off that guy somehow, because he ain't going to win a game again. That's significant. You guys win a lot of games. You know what you're not going to start winning? D games. You're going to win 11 ball games, but are you going to lose the games that matter the most? The playoff games.
Does everybody hear this line of questioning? I'm going to have to be deflecting and defending and dancing around all summer. I mean, this guy's going to – I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be the most hated man in Philly after I get done with this fucking show by the end of this summer. My answer to your question is I don't think they view it as get him better, because I think the player is what he is at this point. But I think, can you make him more productive and more effective in the game? Can you put him in an offense where his talents are more accentuated? Can you put him in an environment where maybe he has more confidence again back there? Can you create an environment where, there are easy outs for Jalen Hurts? Give him stuff underneath. Give him things, where if he doesn't have his first read or he doesn't have, how many times did we say this year? Takes 4 seconds for the routes to develop. Give him some. Again, I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but I do absolutely think there are things you can do to get more out of the player. And if I'm an offense coordinator, that's how I would be thinking about it. I wouldn't be trying to change the spots on the leopard. I mean, that those are what they are. But I think you can get more out of them, Sills. Sills, do you believe that? Do you believe they can get more out of Hurts?
I think you can make him and improve his football IQ even more. And like Brady's IQ improved. I never saw Brady really improve in any way whatsoever when it came to like strength of deep throws or whatever. But what I do think I gotta
get my boy Catch. Go ahead.
I see him, man. Catch, you're just a dick.
No, man, it's great, man. Look at this $100 super chat for my boy Catch, man. We gotta run through this real quick. So this is maybe wrongly been on my mind, but this name is too funny.
Wait, you got Jim.
Look, Catch says $100. Catch, thanks, dude. We appreciate you, man. He says my bet is we got a Cooter OC. All right, so will the shirt say Cooter Hurts, or will it say Hurts Cooter?
Oh my God.
Cooter Hurts and Hurts Cooter.
Hoots is Cooter. Hurts is Cooter.
Oh man.
It's Cooter time. There you go.
Who's Hurts and Cooters, and whose Cooters are hurting?
That's pretty good, man. I tell you, and I appreciate you doing that for us, man.
Oh man, yo, if Jim Bob comes in, that'd be nuts.
But you know what? He's in Indianapolis right now. Look what he did with Daniel Jones, man. I thought he did a great job with him along with Shane. Big old Hurts Cooter. Hurts is Cooter. Dude. What the hell? What are you anxious for? What's going on, man?
I'm not anxious, man. I'm just like, I always try and be honest. I say that all the time. And me being honest is just not what Eagle fans want to hear at this point.
Because, wait a minute. Now you're becoming a shock jock.
I'm becoming Sileo. Hey,
wait. People don't like to hear the truth. Do you not get it? See?
Yeah, but you conveniently do leave out some parts of the truth. All right, they have been a very successful.
I don't leave any part out.
I don't think that they're going to reward the truth. I don't think that they're going to be one of the worst teams. I
never said that.
My concerns are about the crux of the team. If you have a wide receiver problem, all right, you could fix a wide receiver. If you got a problem with a cornerback, all right, you can address. When you have a problem with potentially with a quarterback, or you have a problem with a head coach, or you have a problem with the structural foundation of a team, that's when I worry that our window will shut, because you can get there, but staying there is a whole nother game. And that's where you have to be not only great to get there, but you have to get better every single year. And you now look at the way it's going, and it's like, are Jalen Hurts' best days behind him? It's a fair question at this point. Is Nick Sirianni shelf life donezo? I mean, every single person who comes on here says how brutal the guy is to work with, and nobody likes talking to him. Nobody likes him. We all see it. The guy kind of acts like a stooge. I've continued to. I also agree with Jason. I'm very happy Jason said this, because I have been getting ripped from the great people of JAKIB Nation for pointing out that if you're going to give Jalen credit for all the wins, you can't just take Nick out of the equation. And I appreciate Jason Cole and his pragmatic, logical mindset to say, you don't get the 2 bowls with a shit coach. So thank you, Jason Cole. But maybe his time here is running out already. Owner wanted to fire him last year after week 4. So you got a coach and a quarterback who might be two of your biggest problems.
Oh, wait.
That's my concern. That's my anxiety. It's not
Here's-
anxiety, but
Here's the topic. Who would a potential OC, let me read this right. Who would have a potential OC have more of a problem with, Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni?
it depends what the truth is. We have to know the truth in order to have that answer. If the truth is that, yes, Jalen is not capable of running those offenses, and the offensive coordinator who comes in has to learn the hard way that Nick Sirianni was right, like Kellen Moore did when they started 2-2 and there were 7 turnovers, well, then it'll be Jalen. But if he comes in here and Nick puts clamps on his offense and really there's more left in the tank and the offensive coordinator looks and says, you're not letting me do what I can do. We could be better than this. Well, then it's Nick. But we don't know the truth. Or we do. Some people think they do. But it's all opinion. It's all,
Jalen Hurts is never going to be a better passer from ever. And he
I
never had.
I didn't say that that's the goal, though.
I know you're not. I'm talking
You're shifting
about
it, though. It's not about, is he going to be better? He's the player's the player.
Okay.
But
Well, then why'd you fire a guy if the run game
he wasn't effective enough with them, dude.
Hold on. They fired the offensive coordinator because the run game and the injuries and the O-line and all that bullshit, because they weren't effective on getting the run game going. First it's injuries and then it's the coordinator. Fucking which is it? Which is it? The injuries or the coordinator? How can the coordinator be a coordinator if it's the injuries and you can't run the fucking ball? Okay, wait a minute. So Kevin Patullo took it on the chin because what? The ineffectiveness of the offense. But the other guys like Hurts and Nick get the benefit of the fact because it was injuries.
You know what I hope we have? You know what I hope?
Crazy.
You know what I hope we end up with here? This is what I hope we end up with. I hope we end up with an environment, and we don't know how it's going to play out. I hope we end up with an environment that is not an echo chamber for the offensive coaches. Because when Nick Sirianni elevated Patullo, I'm not even of the belief that Patullo was as bad as people think. I don't think he did a good job. But I also think Patullo was the type of guy who sat there and took it. He didn't feel if Nick wanted to run a certain way, you're not going to tell the Super Bowl head coach how to run his offense. If the quarterback wanted to do certain things, you're not going to push back on that. You're going to say, okay, Jalen and Nick are more established than me. They have more say in this building than me. They're not firing. Those are the two guys I got to build around and listen to. So I think Kevin Patullo, in a way, again, wasn't a guy who pushed back on certain narrative. If Nick Sirianni says to, this is the one thing I liked about Dable is not that he's had amazing success anywhere outside of Buffalo, but I thought this: if Nick said to Dable, we can't throw the ball in the second half, I think Dable would look at him and say, that's stupid. I don't think Patullo ever did that. So I hope at the very least there's an environment where people push back on one another and you do it for the common goal to get better, and let the best argument win. Let the results speak for themselves. But that's what I hope.
So do you think that Nick respected Kellen Moore's You think he respected Kevin Moore's in-game decision-making than what Kevin Patullo, to what your point is right now? If Kevin was going to run something in-game, Nick could override that because he didn't really have the same respect. Not because he didn't like him. It's just because he's inexperienced at that moment. 3rd and 8. Fourth quarter.
I also will say this.
You're going to trust Kellen Moore, Mo, because Kellen Moore had number one offenses.
You used the word I was going to use. I don't think Nick ever trusted Kevin. And I think that's why it never really got flow. Like you hear a lot of people talk about there's no flow in the offense. And I think that's because you did have Nick, he heard the noise. He knew the expectation. And then he's listening to every fucking call the guy's making in his ear. And then you get into a point where you're like psychoanalyzing everything. And it's paralysis by overanalysis. You're sitting there like, oh, is that call the right call? No. Run this. Just do the basic run play. Just run the inside zone. That we know that's worked in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope we have someone that pushes the needle a little bit And that's on Hurts, not on Hurts. That's about Hurts too, because I think you can get more out of Jalen, but not if you run all risk averse all the time. Not if you only want to win by running the football. You have to have a little variety. Even in 24, the Pittsburgh game, they allowed, all right, let's let Kellen open it up a little bit. Jalen, we can't turn the football over. We got to make smart reads with the ball, but let's show our versatility. Let's do it a different way. Super Bowl, same thing. They had the answers. It felt like last year there was no answers ever.
Let me ask you this. You believe in human nature, right? Like
absolutely
how people act in certain environments.
Absolutely.
This has not been really talked about a lot. How much do you think the egg throwing at Kevin Patullo's house affected Nick Sirianni with a guy that he really likes and a guy that he's been trying to develop and a guy that he elevated and put his name on? The guy's still in the building, by the way. He's not going to be fired. He's just been demoted and put into a different role. He likes him. Now, if that were my friend and a guy that I was bringing up, remember, you saw Frank get on my shit for talking shit on Nick and KP, telling me those are my guys. How much do you think that affected Nick, where Nick felt that he had to get more involved because of the shit that he was taking? And I'm talking Kevin Patullo was taking, that he wanted to take some of that off him. That's human nature, Xander. I don't care what anybody says. You or me, if somebody's talking shit to you or somebody's talking shit to me, hey, bro, teammates do shit like that and protect each other. The coaching fraternity is a very close one. You could see it right now. It's a close knit. How much do you think that shit affected him? With all the negative stuff in the media, egg throwing, kids being harassed, media saying it, fans hating the guy. How much do you think that went on Nick's ass?
So that's the one, not the egg, but the kids. That's the one I think probably made an impact. I mean, if you're
only human nature, dude.
We all have a professional life and a personal life, I would assume. All right. If your professional life is destroying your personal life,
which happens,
for certain people, your professional life will no longer be worth it.
That's right.
Or it will change the way you operate in your professional life.
They come into work every day.
Exactly. So I think when you have a guy who's got kids at school who are getting harassed, which I get. I mean, you're not going to stop it. Yeah, so I don't think it's the egg thing, though. I mean, I think that was just one fucking idiot. I mean,
it is.
Listen,
it's not Eagle fans.
I grew up outside the city. I went to school in this city. I've been in this city my whole life. This city's got more fucking assholes than people will admit. I'm not surprised, though, that an asshole chucked an egg at him.
Remember what I said? I didn't go like this. Eagle fans. I said Eagle fan. Because I don't believe that's an indictment of the entire fan.
Well, I mean, you can say fans too. I mean, believe me, I know a bunch of them. All right, we got a lot of assholes, and it's okay. It's part of what makes the city great. But there are a bunch of assholes.
But do you think that this is that affected Nick? Nick took
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, remember it was his boy, but like at the end of the day, you got a job to do. And you can't let some of those other things. Here's the thing.
Big boy pants stuff.
Like if I'm Nick and it pisses me off. This is what I would. Now maybe they didn't have the answers, or maybe Kevin Patullo wasn't good enough, and that seems to be the case. But the best way to stop all that other stuff is by doing what you need to do on the field more successfully.
Yep.
Now it's easier said than done, but you're not gonna dumb things down. You're not gonna put a bottle cap on that can of worms that's already opened up. The only way to do that is have an offense that doesn't have 0 yards and a half. Have an offense that scores 20 to 25 points a game. Have an offense that doesn't lead the league in 3 and outs. You get rid of those things, I promise you the fans are looking elsewhere. They'll find another thing to bitch about. That's a guarantee. But they'll look elsewhere. So, I don't necessarily think that they had the answer. And I think that maybe impacted him more, because it's one thing to see something you don't like. It's another thing to see something you don't like and not feel like you have the ability to do anything about it. That's helpful.
Let me expand on this then. Do you think that the coordinators also, I heard some of the stupidest shit on the planet, that weather, chicks, taxes, what the fuck people talk about? Bro.
Yeah, apparently that, here's ready newsflash, Sileo. People will go to Buffalo for the worst taxes in the world in New York State, for the worst weather in the world in Buffalo. You know what? Yeah. When you got great opportunity, it supersedes all that bullshit.
No doubt.
It's only when the opportunity is not that good that you make decisions based on weather.
All right. So do you think that some of the things that they're seeing with all that stuff that went on with Patullo, the firings, the multiple coordinators, do you think multiple coordinators who potentially looked at that job in Philadelphia went, Nick Sirianni doesn't really fight for these guys? Because Nick doesn't. How can anybody say Nick fights for their assistant coaches when at the end of the day you've had 7 coordinators in 6 years?
Well, because Nick does not have the level of power in the building that most other head coaches.
So then
do.
you disagree with John that he does.
I agree. What's John's take? Because John's
take is that he thinks that Nick's in control of the coaching staff.
No, he does. There's no way John even believes that. There's no way John even believes that.
Okay. All right. So, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Maybe he does. If he does, then yeah, I vehemently disagree with him. Nick is a little bit of a. I mean, in a way, you can give him credit for it because he got another contract. He's been very successful. But in a similar way, for people who are hard-headed and have like a great sense of pride, which isn't always a good thing, but yeah, he's like the opposite of that. Like you're not going to tell Ben Johnson just got hired a year ago. He doesn't have that much, success under his belt to be able to ride on. If you told that guy though, like I get the vibe, if you told that guy what to do, he'd be like, fire me. You didn't hire me to fucking be a lackey. Fuck off. Either let me do my job or fuck off. I'll fire me. I don't care. Someone will hire me.
Okay. I want to get what you think Nick is as a coach here. Let me ask you this. Do you think Nick's a good X's and O's coach?
No.
Okay. So he's not a good X's and O's coach. So you think
he's not a good one. He's not that here. He was decent at that in Indianapolis.
So it's just because of the quarterback.
The quarterback is the reason that Nick Sirianni's philosophy on offense has changed. Yeah, I don't think that's breaking any news here. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So you think his strength is organizationally?
I don't think the organization.
It's not personnel.
I don't think
development.
Let me finish. I don't think the organization puts Nick in an environment to showcase what he does well. Like, how can this is the other thing I think about Patullo.
So is Nick limited, or is he being limited?
This is. I didn't want to say he's a good X and O coach. That's a lie in the chat. I also think this about Patullo. If you don't give a guy an opportunity to show his skill set, how can you have a proper judgment on said skill set? You know what I'm saying? If I don't give you the opportunity to do it, then I only know you for what I allow you to do and to be. So Kevin Patullo, same thing. If he's not allowed to call his own offense, if he's not allowed to call certain plays, if he's not allowed to manage the flow of the game as an offensive coordinator, how do you know what his skill set is? His skill set was dumbed down to how he operated within a structure that was created by someone else. I'm speaking from that because that's always been me personally. That's why I'm in business, because I can't get a job. I can't have somebody tell me what the fuck to do. It's not the way I work. I won't make it. I'll combust. Some people are like that. So how can I tell what Patullo would do not in his environment? I feel like Nick's in the same boat. I feel like they don't let Nick be the head coach the way that John Harbaugh is going to be in New York.
So what you just painted for everyone is that the owner and Howie have a portrait that they paint Nick in the image on how they see him and put him in that painting. He doesn't have the ability to talk about personnel. He's not an X and O's guy. He works within the structure of what that organization is, because it also limits him. Well, Xander, that right there, am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but here's the thing. Here's the pushback. The pushback is it's very easy to get the evidence to say that the owner and the GM are right. Very easy.
Okay.
Because if they run it their way, and they do, it's not like they run a bad business. It's not like they run an unsuccessful football team. It's not like they have a dwindling team, fan base, city, roster. They don't. They have great success. They have championships now on the mantle. They have NFC East titles. They're the team in their division. So, like, if you got to look now, we just put ourselves in Nick's shoes and in Kevin's shoes, and now put yourself in Jeffrey Lurie's shoes. Last time I gave it to a coach, my baby got dropped on its head and blew up. When I took it over and I managed Howie, and I knew exactly what Howie wanted to do, and we managed it inside, we had two coaches go to a Super Bowl, three quarterbacks are part of a Super Bowl organization. We've won 2. We won the NFC 3 times. You get what I'm saying? It's pretty easy to stack the evidence and say, all right, why would Jeffrey Lurie change?
Okay, well, then let me then add this to it. So I'll tell you why, and what makes me look at him and say, you've left so much on the table and so much meat on the bone. When I watch Bob Kraft run an organization, I see Bob Kraft take Mike Vrabel and let Mike Vrabel empower Mike Vrabel to be a coach and hire whoever the fuck he wants to bring in there to develop players. I saw Bill Belichick do the same shit. I saw Bill Parcells do the same shit. And those coaches took the Patriots to the Super Bowl 3 different times, and I think Vrabel's going to get that Patriots team into Santa Clara. There's going to be another guy that he's going to take. He doesn't fucking parachute down in looking at the image of the team. This guy's caught in hoochie fucking massage parlors, and he's allowing his guy to go out there and do what they want, make the hires they want, sign the players they want. When he has to get involved, he gets involved. Don't you think that Jeffrey and Howie are too constrictive in the idea of not to let these guys breathe? You just got through telling me. How do we know what Hurts is as a quarterback? How do you know who fucking Nick is as a coach? They have got them in such a box. They never empower them.
Yeah, but how do you get out of the box?
Place.
The only way to get out of the box is how? For it to fail and then force change.
Well, I think
they're not failing though, dude.
Winning should get you out of the box too. If you win, doesn't that empower you to go?
Yes, but you're missing the key component of the winning. They think they're the reason they're winning.
Okay. How come Kraft doesn't have that ego?
Kraft runs a different type of ship, man.
Okay.
Two different, there's not one way to do this. There's not one way to live a life. There's not one way to build a business, one way to run a team.
One guy's going to go to 11 Super Bowls.
I get it. He's also the outlier.
I don't think there's any.
But he's the outlier. Understand that.
Hold on. I don't think there's any difference in the personnel to what the Eagles have had over the last 25 years to what the Patriots have had. I think you guys have had more talent than the Patriots. Name me one fucking Hall of Famer outside of Brady and Gronk in the 25 years they went to 7 to 9 Super Bowls. You can't. You can't that when they won it. You got all these Hall of Fame players on the team. And I think you should be winning more titles, not more games.
I don't disagree, but I mean, you're comparing us with the outlier, and that's tough to compare to, dude. They are more successful than their entire division in the last 20 years.
Well, then let me use another franchise.
Like if you're going to compare them to the Patriots, well, guess what, bro? Every team in the league is sucks.
Okay.
Compared to that.
Well, then let me give you another example. So when Andy Reid got hired by the Chiefs, and he brings that philosophy that he installed with the blueprint of what Jeffrey Lurie uses right now in Philadelphia, and he took it to Kansas City. Remember, Kansas City hadn't gone to a Super Bowl in 49 years.
Again, let me give you an example.
Okay.
How about the Baltimore Ravens, who just had John Harbaugh for 18 years, winner of one Super Bowl, very successful. Can you imagine if Nick went 13 years straight after last year without winning a Super Bowl? He'd never make it. Are they successful? Were they successful enough? That's a different structure. What about in Pittsburgh? Another amazing head coach.
Okay, so you're the Ravens.
And Mike Tomlin.
Okay, so then you're the Ravens, you're Mike Tomlin, and you're not those elite organizations that people think they are. They're not. You're right. You just said it. You're not as elite as you think.
But that's what I'm saying. So Nick, the owner looks at it and says, "You're not the Patriots.
You're the Ravens.
Those are no. We're better. We're better than the Ravens.
Got just as many Super Bowls as they do.
In the last 8 years, they haven't won shit.
Okay, They got 2 Super Bowls under that whole.
When's the last time they won? In 2012, I believe.
Yeah, and Brian Billick won the other one.
Okay, but I don't want to go back too far. I just want to look at the current.
Yeah, I got it.
Current ownership. You know, they subscribed though the ownership in Baltimore, and I'm not saying they weren't successful, but they subscribed to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Have a coach. Your coach runs your team.
Yeah.
All right, and they stuck by him. They let him run it.
Yep.
Well, that philosophy got them 1 Super Bowl.
Okay.
We got 2 in 8 years, and the owner's like, all it takes is for me to swap out the coach when he's no good anymore. Swap out the quarterback. I keep the GM. I keep the structure. I keep the paycheck open, the paybook open. I keep the talent coming in. We're going to be in another Super Bowl in 5 years. Whether Jalen and Nick are here or not, we're going to win another Super Bowl in 5 years.
Okay. You're kind of like the Rams. Okay. No, I'm getting it now. Yeah. No, I mean, I always looked at your talent and go like this. There's nobody New England never had better talent than you. And that Brady run.
I agree with that. I just think
now, the quarterback offsets that shit.
Yeah, you know? I think they're a tough comp because of Brady, because of obviously
Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, I really do. I think they're a tough comp. But I understand where you're coming from with the thought process, because you see things from a greatness thing. So you want to say, how do the Eagles are a great organization. How do they be the best? How do they be the elite? How do they win a dynasty? I agree with you. You're looking to get there, and you could make an argument that you're never going to get there with this much change and not empowering
and control.
People. Yeah, not empowering people, you know?
Because you just got through telling me, I don't know if Nick's a good coach. Well, that tells me then Nick's got guardrails.
Nick has a lot of guardrails.
So does Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen has a ton of guardrails too.
So who would want to be a coordinator to that?
Yeah, you got to get a lackey. Yeah, that's why Kevin Patullo is here in the first place.
That's why Billy Bob Cooter is going to be in here, being here.
You think it's going to be Billy Bob? I think it's going to be that Bobby Slowick guy.
Hey, dude, you guys talked to me this morning into Matt Nagy.
Well, I think John brought up a good point on him. Like, it's amazing how perceptions, hold things. Like, Matt Nagy gets ripped. Like, people act like he's like the worst fucking coach. He brought the Chicago Bears.
I fell into that.
Yeah, to the playoffs 2 years. He's a 500 record. He took Mitch Trubisky to the postseason twice. I mean, who's the real abject disaster? I mean, is he not the best? Yeah, he's not the best, but I mean, he's got a better resume than fucking Brian Dable does.
Or Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, or Mike McDaniel. So I don't know.
I mean, no.
I'm with Catch. Like, the one thing that's a guarantee, no matter who they hire, is that the offensive coordinator is going to get booed next year. And if you're talking about booing somebody, like, booing Cooter is going to be legendary. I'm going to look for a TV setting to mute the announcers just so I can hear the Eagle fans booing Cooter.
Jesus criminy, man.
Because they're going to boo him. I can guarantee you that.
Do you think that Julian Lurie will be the president of the Philadelphia Eagles in 3 years?
No, not 3. Within 10, for sure.
What's that mean for Howie?
If Julian had a brain between the ears and it worked, Howie would be here. I mean, you're going to take over the team. You're not going to be the GM too. You can't do everything. Howie's the best GM. I said a long time ago, and I still hold to this. I don't think it'd be a bad idea to give Howie 1% of the organization.
That's about $150 million.
But only if you liquidate it. I don't want anybody poaching Howie.
I think 8% got $8 billion.
I mean, Howie's a pretty young dude, man. He's like 50, I think. Let me look him up. Howie Roseman age.
I think he's 52.
He's 50, right on the money.
Okay.
He's 50.
Wow, he could be a GM for the next 15 years.
I mean, he's already arguably a Hall of Fame GM. He's going to be
He is.
I'm not letting that guy walk out the building.
Howie Roseman.
This is what bothers me about the coaching thing. I believe when you have great people, either elevate and empower your great people, or don't. You don't need. Why do you have them?
Yeah, but I just said that to you. They don't empower these people.
They don't. They empower Howie.
They empower Howie.
But I think Howie operates under Jeffrey and doesn't really have power over that.
You believe then that well, no, let me say it because I don't want to put words in your mouth. So the owner believes that the success of the football team is solely on the shoulders of the GM and not the coach. Is that correct?
I don't know that he thinks solely, but I think they are a much more important component. And I think he's got a
Do you think they could replace him and still do you think they
let me ask you something. There's 10 coaching jobs right now and 13 offensive coordinators.
That's crazy.
How many GMs got fired? Not 10.
No, the guy in Atlanta got fired.
And let me tell you, let me also remind you of this.
I can't think of no one else.
In the modern game, me and you have often talked about something that I don't think is talked about enough at all when it talks about macro football analysis. The game has changed from a sense of these businesses are massive now. You know, the Cowboys in the 90s were worth, I don't know,
$154 million.
These are like Fortune 500 companies now. These are fucking huge companies. I mean, you're talking about a $10 to $12 billion asset. If the Cowboys went up for sale right now, forget what their list price said or what their value said. They're selling for $15 billion. So I think we're in it where it's a little bit of a different era now. But if the GMs manage, what do they manage, Sills? They manage the motherfucking money. Find me a GM or an owner of a business who cares more about something other than the fucking money. GMs are valuable. And by the way, I think they might be harder to find than anybody. Quarterbacks, players, receivers, anybody. That's how. And when you have a guy like Howie that's performed at the level he's performed, I mean, come on, man. You don't let that guy walk.
Bro,
now here's the question. This is a bigger question.
Cowboys have an evaluation right now of $14 billion. He bought it for $140 million.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Tenfold.
Here's shit, I lost my train of thought. That's all right. But that's what I think we're at. I think it's a big business and GMs are very important, you know, and I remember. Will Howie want when Jeffrey Lurie's out? Does Howie maybe want to trailblaze? You know, does Howie want to prove his worth
the Jets
somewhere?
He's always coveted that job.
You know, you hear the beat reporters right now, and I know people don't care sometimes what beat reporters say, but you got to understand how they play a role in legacy. Okay,
messaging.
Even a bigger term. They write the stories that you look back on that tell the story of an era.
Yep.
You listen to the beat reporters. Whenever I give Howie Roseman credit, I'm immediately met with Jeffrey Lurie gives him the checkbook. Can't do it without Jeffrey Lurie. Now they're right, but maybe Howie, his ego, when he's 55 years old, you know,
no one will
maybe he
remember
feels
that.
like I want to trailblaze. You know, I want to go and I want to go and, you know, do, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't, but you can't rule out the human element of that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Theo Epstein, the former general manager of the Cubs and also the Red Sox, he wanted to win in two places that no one had ever won before. He built statues of Theo Epstein, the GM in Chicago with the Cubs and with the Red Sox. They never won in over 100 years with both places.
Yeah.
The fucking guy's he's a legendary Hall of Fame guy in two legendary places. Oh, yeah, Howie Roseman's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I put him in the category. I think he's better than Bill Polian, who built the Colts and built the Bills teams. I don't think he's in the room with a Bobby Beathard, because Beathard built that undefeated Miami Dolphin team, plus went on to build those three-time Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins teams. I think he's better than Jerry Reese. I think he's better than Brett Veach. I don't know if he's better than Ozzie Newsome. He could be in the same. Probably him and Ozzie Newsome are probably in the same conversation. Dude, that's quite a compliment, because I think a lot of Howie Newsome. Or Ozzie Newsome. I think a lot of him. So, yeah, no. How many more years do you think he's got left?
Who?
Howie with the Eagles.
He's 50 years old. I think he's going to do it another 15 years.
In Philly?
I don't know. It's impossible to make that prediction with potential owner change.
How many more years do you think Nick has here? How many years do you think the owners are going to tolerate
It's so
not
hard to
having a
guess.
change?
It's so hard to guess because it's truly fire
They
and ice.
tried firing him twice almost.
It's true. It's fire and ice. It's like they try firing him, and then he goes and wins a Super Bowl. It's true. Remember, for year one, same shit. People were like, he should be a one and done, and then he leads the team to the playoffs, and then the next year they go to the Super Bowl. It's like,
do you think if they didn't win the Super Bowl last year, they'd have fired him at the end of the year?
Depends where they got bounced. I mean, if they got bounced early, maybe. I mean, if the report is true, the owner wanted to fire him in week 4. I mean, you don't just forget that. You don't just forget that. Like, you don't get to the end of the season. Oh, I didn't think that. You did. You thought about it.
No, I'm like, okay, let's get to these supers. Guys, I appreciate you very much. Please send the supers and also please hit the like button. We appreciate it. Let's get to some of these, brother.
Here's Joho.
What a great conversation today.
Yeah, good one. Can we trade Nick to the Raiders to get Bain?
Bain.
He's not going 1.
Bain's not going 1, but Bain is probably going to go 5. I say Bain, Ruben Bain's going 5.
Another top 5 draft pick for the Miami Hurricanes. Things are adding up for your squad, brother. I told you, Cam Ward.
It's going to be 2 in the top 10. The OT and that kid.
Yep.
Starting to look like
any of my fellow Alabama fans in the chat. And I woke up with sweats the other night. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think you're going to get 2 dudes in the.
I fear we have fallen off, and I fear it will be quite a bit until we return.
D'Amico Ryans.
You need a great coach. In college, you need a great coach.
Bro, you imagine how many kids you would get on defense to go play for that guy, on what that guy has done. And dude, he changed that culture around after that Deshaun Watson mess. That dude is underrated as a coach.
Home run, dude. He's been great in Houston.
Has he exceeded?
Talk about abject disasters. CJ Stroud is an abject disaster.
Yeah,
they can't pay him. They cannot pay him.
They can't pick that 5th-year option up.
He's horrid. Talk about wasting opportunity. That was like a championship defense on steroids.
They were talking. Some people were talking in Houston that he should have put Davis Mills in.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it because the optics of it probably would have been brutal, but I would have done it. I mean, I could see why. They weren't all that bad. Remember when Davis Mills started for the year after Deshaun Watson? Yeah, he
won this year.
Yeah, he won a call. He played 3 games this year. He was 3-0.
Remember they started 0-3, and then CJ got injured. You see what he said bullshit about? He goes, one of the reasons why I don't have to really be all that great is because my defense is great. And I was like, so he's saying, what do you want to do? Trade Will Anderson, and maybe you'll become great? Is that what we're saying?
What did he say?
He said that, one of the reasons why I'm not really evolving is because we have such a great defense and I don't have to be great.
CJ said that?
CJ Stroud said that.
Yeah. I would maybe trade him this summer. I don't even want him in my building.
Yeah. I'm out on him, man.
Well, you should have stuck to your guns.
I know, man. It's the Ohio State guy.
Remember when he went, what did he go, number 2 overall?
Yeah. Yeah, because Bryce, actually, get this. Bryce is now taking over.
Yeah, Bryce is
looks better than
Dude, if Bryce. This is what I wish people would understand about Bryce Young. If Bryce Young was 6'5", he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
You know who Bryce Young's attitude reminds me of? Devontae's. They both they remind me like hard work.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about attitude, dude. I'm talking about skill set. That dude can process. That dude was a 99th percentile. 99th percentile in the cognitive processing test that they do before the draft.
That's so great.
99th. His problems are his physical limitations.
Yep.
But and he's got an unbelievable arm and he's tremendously accurate. When he can throw, I mean, if he was 6'5", I think he'd be maybe top 3.
One of my favorite moments in Saban history is when he went like this. Both guys, Will Anderson and him, were getting up at that podium.
Yeah, that was
he grabbed both those guys and looked at them and goes, I want to talk about these 2 dudes here. and about what they gave to the program and this and that. And they both touched him on the shoulder. And I was like, man, you talk about loving your players.
Yeah.
That's what you're missing in Alabama right now with Saban, because he loved them guys.
Saban was a developer.
Rare cat.
Of men. He was a developer of men. You know,
Yeah.
and college coaches have to have that.
Yep.
If you don't have that, then I think you're doing it the wrong way. But where Saban's right, I mean, it's changed a lot, man. You know, the college game, and it's going to keep changing. You know, and that's okay. Probably, I welcome the change. I think, but I think that's
the change helped my program get back to an establishment.
It did, and I think I like that. I know people like, I'm a Bama guy. Obviously, I want them to win it all every year, but I like having teams get better. I like the Indiana story. I like the Miami story. I like that Miami's back. I mean, I like that shit. I like that Ole Miss is competing. So, I don't have a problem with it, but it has changed kind of the fabric of the sport a little bit, which is different. Here's Marsh. I do believe this is more Lurie pushing the philosophy. Y'all forget he stripped Howie during Chip Kelly and we still won. However, this thinking doesn't produce Super Bowls, lack of consistency. Well, Marsh, they have produced a couple Super Bowls, man.
And appearances.
How many Marsh, question for you.
None without.
How many Super Bowls happened before Chip Kelly or during Chip Kelly?
How many Super Bowls ever happened before Lurie?
Zero happened during Lurie until he took over. This is what I'm saying. I don't like what Jeffrey Lurie's style is. It's not what I would do. But you have to be able to be objective and say, I understand why he does it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Here's Joe. Thanks, bro. Steve, what's up, Steve? Xander, you're dead on correct. Even Sirianni is controlled. Yeah, I mean, that's his organization, Steve. It's a weird.
So how can you tell if he's a good coach or not?
I don't think he's a bad coach. I'm sorry. I'm going to die on that right now. Until he proves to me he's a bad football coach, I'm going to think I don't think he's groundbreaking on the offense. I don't think that. I don't think he's got this.
Here's my problem that made me go more deep in that end. Well, I saw him get out coached by a guy who had a shitty team, and he had no answers for it. And he came up with that stupid 4th and 11. I'm watching Kyle Shanahan with a box of rocks beat him.
Sure.
It made me go, here, what's your answers, Nick?
Yeah, I hear you. I get that. I get it. I do. Marsh, what's up? Call me a Jalen or whatever, but you guys refuse to call out the stupidity of Nicholas Sirianni using Hurts as a scapegoat. Don't sit well with me. I think Nick Sirianni's done the opposite of use Hurts as a scapegoat.
I think it's the organization that limits both guys.
I don't think you're a Jalen Knight for that comment. That's not. But Marsh, I wonder the same things about Hurts that I wonder about the coach, and that I wondered about the coordinator. And Marsh, if you're going to have that mentality on the quarterback, which I think is fair to have, Marsh, how do you not extend it to the coach and the quarterback? If we understand, or if the premise is correct that the front office of the Philadelphia Eagles controls everything, how do you not look at the coaches with the same tinted glass that you look at Jalen with if he's not able to play his game? Nick Sirianni's operating within their philosophy. So you have to be consistent in the logic. I don't think it's bad logic. I just think you got to be consistent with it.
No, I don't either. I don't.
Here's Kim.
By the way, guys, and Kim, thank you guys very much for all the supers today. We appreciate it.
Kimberly says, Charlie Weiss like Munkin. Take a chance on new blood. Yeah, Kimberly, it's kind of growing on me. I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't think you're going to push back on anything. Like I said earlier, the number one thing I think you want, here is, you just want a room that's not a fucking echo chamber. I want somebody to tell Nick why risk averse is good in moments, but it can't be what you do every time. I want somebody to tell Jalen why you got to protect your body, but your legs are imperative to our football team. I want somebody to hold Stoutland accountable to, if this isn't working, Jeff Stoutland, we have to do things to get more creative. I want a room that welcomes ideas and everybody pushes toward a common goal. Because I believe that's how you get the best product. I don't think they had that last year.
Surround yourself with great people all the time. You get great results.
Yeah, let them speak. Let them speak.
Let them empower them.
Yeah. Here's Marsh again. Marsh, thanks for all the support today, bro. We appreciate it.
You're absolutely awesome, Marsh.
Sirianni is stupid trying to force a square into a circle, and then he has no answers for anything. Overlooking a football player for a shit brain is crazy to me.
You know what though, man? Hey, Marsh, that my definition of a great coach is being a problem solver. That's when I need you the most, Xander. Not when I need you when things are front running and you're running for 200 yards a game. I need you when shit hits the fan. Don't you put more value on people when shit hits the fan?
Absolutely.
Like, get this. How about this? What if Sean Payton wins that AFC title game this weekend?
Yeah, impressive.
Well, that's what you pay him for, isn't it?
Right.
Isn't that what Doug did?
Do you hold him? Do you hold it against him?
No. How about this? Doug Peterson. You think Doug Peterson cemented his legacy in Philadelphia? Not by winning the Super Bowl. How he won the Super Bowl.
Doug Peterson's a fucking legend in this
Hey,
city. I don't give a
not just that they won the first one, how they won it.
Doug Peterson is the OG. Doug Peterson is my favorite Eagle coach, and it's not fucking close.
We got to get him on again.
Walkout, what's up, dude? Bill, thanks, man. He says, hey, guys, do you think Sirianni and Hurts are on the clock for 26? Do you think Howie will let Sirianni have any say in the draft? You guys are great, Bill. Bill, thanks, dude.
I think what will happen in 26, if it bombs at the end of 26, I think everything's on the table.
I think it is, but I think it'd have to be pretty bad to blow them both out. You know,
Okay,
I think
you're 10-7. No, I don't think.
Yeah, Bill, I think it's. Yeah, I don't think the question is unfair at all. I don't know if Sileo froze up for everybody, froze up for me. I don't think the question's unfair at all, Bill. I think the problem is, you know, when you have as much success as you have, how are you going to justify making a move, not only on a coach, but also on a quarterback? I mean, you know, if the offense sucks, I would leave it on the table as a potential, but it's tough to go there in terms of how much success that they've had and what they've accomplished. And, I mean, dude, blowing it up is for, and at least in my opinion, blowing it up is for the Jetses of the world, the Titans of the world, the New York Football Giants of the world. It's not for the Eagles. I get it, you know, and I think the seat is hot just from an expectation, Bill. You know, you don't have the scapegoat anymore, right, Bill? I mean, you had Kevin this year. It's a scapegoat. Now you don't have Kevin. So when you get rid of the guy that everybody says was the problem, the one thing that guarantees, Bill, is, well, now it's on you guys. You know, all right, Kevin's gone now. You know, now it's on you, Nick and Jalen. And I think that's how it will be looked at ultimately. So go ahead, Sills, if you have one more comment on to Bill's answer. You got most of what you were saying out.
Listen here, man. I don't think that 26 they're going to blow anybody out. Like Xander said, unless they're going to go down and it's a 4-win team like what happened to Doug, they're not going down that lane. But I do think, Xander, it'll change the mentality of how they look at both those guys heading into that 27 season. And I told you this, man. Do you see Jalen Hurts as starting quarterback of that football team past 3 years from now?
Right now, no. But that could change. I mean, what? Okay. You know, last time they fell apart and lost in the opening round, they went on to win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's going to happen again. Let's just say they go to the NFC Championship game next year. You know what's going to happen, right? They're going to have to re-up Hurts' contract.
Yep.
And then, yes, he's going to be here for another 3 years. If they fall flat this year, I don't think they'll extend him. And then I think the clock will really be ticking.
Do you think that Jalen and Nick are tied together?
No.
And what I mean by that is that if they're going to get rid of one, they're going to get rid of both, because that's what they did with Doug.
Yeah, they didn't want to get rid of Carson.
Okay.
They did not want to get rid of Carson.
So you don't think these two guys are tied together? Because that's kind of what I think Lamar is.
In fact, let me tell you this. I think the first thing that happened when Doug got fired wasn't he wanted to elevate Press Taylor or that he won 4 football games.
Huh.
The offensive line was destroyed that year. Everybody loves to leave out that context. Destroyed.
And the receivers were nobody.
Receivers, nobody's. So Doug had really tough roster to work with. I think they were upset with Doug for sitting Carson Wentz during the season. And that was the first thing that pissed them off. And then, You have the coordinators.
Oh, you think Doug made that call to sit him and not
Doug
the
100% made that call. That is not up for debate. Doug made the call to bench.
So do you think they would give Nick that power to bench Hurts, or do you think that
No,
has to
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
I agree. That means they'll never have a coordinator or coach like Doug Peterson ever again in the building. And by the way, isn't it kind of funny, Xander, that you and me have a show here and we have a network here that all of a sudden Mike Florio has on Frank Reich, and Frank Reich echoes the shit that we said 6 months ago, that the guy was going to be he was open to being a consultant. Well, we said that 6 months ago here. You can go back and watch the interview when Frank was the head coach interim of the Stanford Cardinal.
Yeah. So
would you be open to that? Bringing Frank back?
Yeah, I think it'd be good. I mean, again, I would hope that it's not an echo chamber because those guys are buddy, but I don't think that's how Frank rolls. I think
it's not. It's not. But don't you think if you're an OC and you see Frank Reich and you see Nick Sirianni in the building, wouldn't that be maybe a red flag for you to go, well, wait a minute. If I want to do something, these two guys don't like it. I mean, how much latitude is Nick going to give this guy is really, I think, the biggest question.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon says that came from up top. Brandon, I can 100% guarantee you it did not. The owner did not want to put the new quarterback they just paid a couple years prior
$32 million.
Had a $32 million dead cap hit. He did not want to put him on the bench. I guarantee you that. That's why they fucking played Nate Sudfeld in the final game.
That's not how that works, folks. You pay him, you play him. You guys are crazy if you think you pay a guy.
And by the way, does anybody remember those 4 games? Because I do. I remember that Cardinal game like it was yesterday. Jalen Hurts, let me look that up. Let me look up what, because I remember him fucking cooking.
I thought it was the Atlanta or the Saints
versus
where he threw for 350.
2020 season. No, I remember because it was COVID. They lost the football game 33-26. Jalen Hurts in the game had 338 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I thought he was
He was a rookie.
I thought he ran for 60-something in that game, too.
Okay, in a sec. He ran for 63 with a touchdown.
Yeah. So he had 4 TDs in that game.
That was Jalen Hurts' second game, I think, starting ever in his career.
Was that Press Taylor as OC?
No, that was Mike Groh the OC then?
Yeah, okay, yep, okay.
I think Doug would have been better for Jalen than Nick has been for Jalen.
Would they have won as much?
Potentially not. Because, it's impossible to guess because would Howie have made the same move? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to, but I do. I think Doug and Jalen would have been a really good fit.
Who puts Jalen in the box more and restricts him more? Nick or Howie? Xander, you have to go into a
meeting. That's what I don't know.
Watch this. You have to go into a meeting with Howie and with Jeffrey when you have your meetings and go, this is the style of play I think is going to be the best suited for him. And the general manager who has put the roster together is going to go thumbs up or thumbs down and go, yes, I agree. He's this, he's that. He says it all the time. He's in the meetings with them. How would he not have an opinion on how Jalen plays? Right? How would he not have an opinion? He's always in our meetings. He's always in our approach meetings. How does anybody think that Howie doesn't have any kind of say in style of play? Yes, I agree.
I don't know. No, I don't think he does, dude.
You don't think
that he has 0, but I really don't think
you don't think he says this is who Jalen is. You need to build an offense around who this guy is. He's the talent evaluator.
Wait, Pump, no picks. Pump, 0 picks in that game, big dog. It was December 20th, 2020. 0 picks, Pump.
Wow.
Sorry, Pump.
400 yards in total offense with 4 TDs. That's chucking it.
With Doug Peterson.
That's chucking it. Well, what happened to that guy?
Doug?
No. What happened to that guy, that quarterback right there?
Well, I mean, he was a rookie. He was still raw, but
raw with 330 and 60 on the ground and 14.
24 for 44 in the game,
Where's that guy? I I've seen that guy a few times.
You know
think
what?
Jalen would be
Wait. What happens when you open up your can of Coke that you drink? What happens when you open up a can of Coke
goes
and
flat?
you leave it, and then you leave it there for 3 days?
Goes flat.
They
Okay.
They tried to bottle them up, dude.
And they bottled them up and succeeded to a point where they're 50-18 in the last 4 years.
Well, that's where the Nick argument. I explained to you why Jeffrey runs the way he does, because I think he thinks he's successful. Same with Nick. So Big Marsh, appreciate your supers, but you can make them all you want. I mean, Nick thinks he's successful and he's not wrong. Here's Mr. Hill. Catch, by the way. Thank you one more time, my man. I appreciate you. Mr. Hill, I'll get to you in a sec. Here's Marshall. I'm upset you guys are missing the point here. Good coaches coach the player's strength. The dumbass coach's inability to do so is the problem. This is not hard, fellas. And Marsh, can't agree with you, man. I agree with your point that good coaches coach the player's strengths, but I can't agree with you that you think that this is this simple problem that it's all Nick Sirianni. I can't subscribe to
Okay,
that.
let me ask you about Belichick, and I'll show you about 2 players. So when Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round, and Tom Brady's being coached by Bill Belichick, and you got Lawrence Taylor on the other side. Lawrence Taylor made a defense that fit Lawrence Taylor's skill set with the New York Giants, and it turned him into the greatest defensive player of all time. Bill Belichick turned Tom Brady into the greatest player of all time based on his skill set. Do you think that's coaching, or do you think that's something else?
It's a combination of both. You know, the great coach with a great player who's got an uncanny or a an unfettered desire to become the best. You know,
2 players with exceptional football IQ.
Yep, and who worked their ever living balls off.
Yes. You know, Lawrence Taylor could go like this on a chalkboard and go and give you every single technique on every single position, offensively and defensively. He went up there. You know what? Hey, Harry Carson told me he went up there and all 22 players, he showed technique, he showed responsibility, he showed everything that was in the offenses, and nobody could believe. And he would go back there and close his eyes and go back to sleep again in the meeting. So when he goes, go up to the board, he'd go up to the board and write your job out. Yeah. He'd write others' jobs out, and he'd go back and sit down and go to sleep. There's just certain freaks like that, dude, that God puts their hand on your shoulder, and he's just there a little longer. You know,
it's not only talent that separates those guys. It's a desire and a work ethic. Here's Mr. Hill. Will money entice Kingsbury to deal with Stout U? Doesn't sound like it. That's the rumor.
No. Do you buy that?
I do, because a lot of people got to remember, a lot of these guys have these what they call these like intricate run schemes.
Yeah.
You know, and the Eagles don't run that. They use the running backs in different ways. They create, jet sweeps and zone and all these different things that the Eagles don't do. And I happen to think Stoutland is right that that's not really suited for the Eagles.
I'm not getting rid of Jeff Stoutland.
No, me neither. We talked about this at the Open. Here's Leon. Super Bowl Stout is the main reason we don't have a new OC. Leon, if you want to rage about Jeff Stoutland, be my guest. Here is
2 rings.
Marsh. If I remember correctly, Frank was mad at the Panthers for picking Young over Stroud. Let that marinate. Well, Young does have physical limitations.
Yeah, he was. Marsh, he did. I think that Young is now really – you know what, Marsh, I'll tell you this about Bryce Young. When they benched him and he sat behind Andy Dalton, and he sat behind him for a couple games, and they kept Andy Dalton on the sidelines. You know, Andy Dalton and him have one of their best relationships, and Andy Dalton helps him sees the game more. You know, wouldn't you think that would help Jalen if they had more of an experienced quarterback behind him and helping him when he comes off the field? Don't you think that would help him?
I have been a little bit confused by some of their backup quarterback picks. Mariota made sense, but Gardner Minshew.
Brady always had a veteran guy behind him. Like, he had a guy with him. Yeah, but he wanted to hear someone else's opinion on how he saw that.
People are going to get mad at this question, but whatever. Do you think Jalen Hurts' ego has gotten, too big? Do you think any of it is him?
A little bit. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's overbearing. But I do think that he sees himself differently. Remember what Boomer said? You got to learn to play with the contract too, son. I think a little bit of that's kind of like, this is my team. This is this. We're going to do it this way. We're winning this way. I don't give a shit what you think. And I got to tell you, I think there's frustration with some of the players. I never hear anybody talking shit on A.J. Brown.
That's why I brought up the weird way they posted. Like, and I know it's goofy, but at the end of the day, we are in the modern age, guys, and social media is big for these players. They all like almost made a point. Like AJ's in every picture with all of them smiling. They all love AJ. I don't know. It doesn't mean that they all think AJ's right about everything. That's not what I'm saying.
But I thought it was odd too that Jalen went out of his way to make sure he told everybody that he and AJ are in a good place. He came like all of a sudden, like on the exits.
I actually like this comment from Reyes. This dude is humble as fuck. He doesn't let it go to his head. Y'all just think the lack of crying on the sidelines like Josh Allen is some indication he doesn't care. Yeah, I heard you caping for the tears. Yo, dude, you're a fucking grown man. Welcome to being a grown man. We're all fucking grown men. We all got shit in our life. Get the job done, Josh.
Hey, man.
4 picks in the playoffs.
Okay. Hey, dude, I don't have a problem with somebody showing emotion and love.
I don't have a problem with it either, but I have a problem with not getting the job done.
Okay, that's a different problem.
Feel bad for you.
One doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Give a rat's ass back.
One has nothing to do with that one. Has nothing to do with the other.
Get the job done.
Love of the game and 4 picks are 2 different combos.
I gotcha. I know. Joshy Poo can cry to tears.
Joshy Poo.
Here's Marsh. That's true, Xander. We won Super Bowls, but how many did we leave on the table? It's a fair question, but Marsh, it's not like there's other teams that are winning them at a higher rate than we are, And the Chiefs, but again, they're,
Chiefs.
I hear you, Marsh. Here's our pump. Don't understand why fans put so much energy into blaming Nick when we know he's just a mascot. He didn't ventriloquist that pass in the triple coverage. Brian Pumper is so fucking funny. This guy is
Look at the picture.
I know. I saw the picture. I've been looking at the picture for that when we lost.
Look at the freaking picture the guy has there, man. Are you kidding me? Did we get them all?
I think we got one more.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for the supers.
Absolutely. Guys have been great today. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, please.
Would you trade AJ for Coleman and a first to the Bill? Coleman and a first. Nick, what crack are you smoking?
Keon Coleman, that guy? Is that
one, I don't want Keon Coleman. And 2, AJ Brown's not worth a first-round pick to somebody.
What do you think his value is?
My prediction is a conditional 3 that could become a 2 based on metrics.
Now you're saying 3 because of the money?
Yeah, he's a 30-year-old, $32 million wideout. I mean, come on.
$30 million.
So, wait, teams already don't even like drafting wideouts because it's a premium pick. Now you're going to send a premium pick and pay $32? No. You're not even getting a rookie deal out of it. It's a fucking bad value. You're not. A 2, I think, would be extremely. I don't even think a 2.
So continue.
Read your super YouTube. You didn't send a fucking super. So instead of saying read your fucking super, how about you send one, motherfucker?
Look at Z, Joe.
I'm fired up. Today I'm on the show. I'm all pissed off. I'm not in a good mood. Then
Why?
John's telling me that a back surgery is the same as a fucking ankle surgery or a knee surgery. I'm like, what the fuck world am I living in that a back surgery is the same as an ankle or a knee?
He's done.
I mean, come on.
He's done. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. Let me see. How many NFL guys came back from back surgery? I don't remember anybody coming back. Let me see here. Okay, get this. A significant number of NFL players return from back surgery. When studies with returns, 42
skyscraper, shut your bitch ass
50%. Now get this, if you have any kind of lower back, it's 62% return rate. So there's a 48% chance that he's not back to what he was. Dude, I think that's fucking high.
That's maybe. Here's Hangry. Look at a JAKIB shirt. Nice. I remember Doug said in multiple post-game pressers that Carson, not Hurts, gave them the best chance to win games. Didn't Howie want a better draft pick from starting Sudfeld? Yeah, what are you talking about? Earlier in the year? You know what's funny? Before I was doing Eagles content, before JAKIB Sports existed, I've always loved content. You know, my dad grew up in media. It's just kind of like what I've always, thought I was going to do. I made a video when I lived in Houston. At the time, I was doing YouTube, but I was doing it in a different arena. And I made a video. It was about 3 minutes. I still have it on my computer. I got to find. I almost don't want to show it because I'm like self-conscious about it. I was like a fucking youngster, like 19 years old. I had an Eagle hat on. I had long hair. And I made a video in week 2 of 2020. It's time to bench Carson Wentz. I have it on my computer.
How come you don't replay that?
I should replay it.
That's a great take. By the way, Hangry.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you, big dog. All right, that's all of them. Get me out of here, please. I'm telling you, I'm going to be the most hated man in Philly after talking to you all fucking summer.
Good. Better
Easy for you to say from fucking California.
Hey, good. Better you than me. All I do is get shit on my ex account. Yeah,
you're tried. You're like John. You guys. Sometimes you guys come on the show and it's like you got to cry about your ex account. I don't give a fuck who is mentioning you on X. John and Jeff Kerr. The fans in my comments. I don't give a shit about the fans in your comments.
I don't really give a crap either, bro. They could kick rocks. Boxer rocks. Man. Big Z, I appreciate you, man. Make sure you guys check out my boy at Birds 365 in the morning. Love you, man.
All right, dude. Appreciate you, brother. Love you too, man.
You, man. All good. All right. Let's pay some bills here. Our good friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. And by the way, the content has been so good. This will be our first break. How you doing? That's right. The #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. It's because they win. With over $20 billion recovered, Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm, thousands of attorneys from coast to coast defend you and your family if you've ever been hurt on the job. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, no IBX, is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Guys, all good. Appreciate you very much. Don't forget 2 to 6 tomorrow. Big Z, thank you very much. Big Joe, thank you. We will see you. Hit the like button on the way out. Catch you tomorrow. We'll catch you on the flip side.